So we're gonna get into the you know, the introductions and the whatnot. So, do you want to start by introducing yourself? Maybe that would be a good place to start. Oh wait. Hold up. Oh, there you are. There you are. For a second, you were muted. It's okay. Everyone can hear you now. But hello, friends. I have a friend here. We're gonna be learning Ensemble Stars today.
Hello, everyone. We were playing the idol game. The boys.
Sparkly boys. Hello, Vanilla. Hello, Levin. Lovely to see you guys here.
Oh, wait. Alright.
Okay, let's mute this.
Ensemble Stars, music!
Okay, have you got the game up by any chance? You should probably get the game up.
Just check out. I'm really in that store. So.
Alright.
Ba-da-ba. Okay, I will turn this up and this up. I have played the story until chapter 5, I think.
Ooh, okay.
Ba-da-ba.
Okay. Sorry, just need to double check a couple of settings, but yes, you are good. You are good. But yeah, the story. Okay, so actually you made decent story progress then.
Not much until episode 5.
That's fine. Because you're about to find out how much is missing from the story anyways.
I'm very confused because a lot of things happen. Someone isn't selling. I don't understand anything. I'm really confused.
Good news, you are probably not the only person, because like unless you started out with the game that came technically before this, there's a lot that's missing basically.
There's a game before this one. This is not like the main game. It's like a sequel.
Kind of, yes. They sort of just pushed an update, which was technically a sequel anyways, but they did that. They really just did that to us. It was wild.
Why?
That is a very good question. But okay, I think the game started in 2015. Yeah, so actually, the backstory before that. 2012, there was another game called Ensemble Girls. That launched under the same company, Happy Elements, done by all of the same people, in particular the writer, a guy named Akira, who also writes most of the Endstar story. So yeah, he was around, and he made a game called Ensemble Girls. Now, for reasons, that game kind of flopped. I mean, it apparently still ran nearly 3 years, so it didn't flop that bad. You make it to a 3-year anniversary, man.
No, that was not like a Love Live game or something like that. It was like very underground for something.
It's the art style, I think. People didn't really like the art style of that particular game. It was too cutesy moe, probably, for the plot.
More up the butt. It's like...
Yeah. So, it wasn't even a rhythm game. Note, but none of this stuff was a rhythm game. They were kind of released as what is apparently called a life simulation, also more commonly known now, I think, as idol raising games.
Oh, like idol manager, something like that?
I call it a tap-tap game, which is the worst way to describe it ever, but it does still exist in that form, and basically what you're doing is you're just tapping your way through supposed lessons in order to power up your idols and, you know, yada yadas.
Yeah. Very boring. In gameplay, at least.
I find it actually very riveting. I don't know, there's something about the tap-tap mechanism that I really love. That's kind of insane at this point.
Cookie clicker.
Yeah, something like that. Hello, Kuneho. Lovely to have you here. So glad so many of you guys are gonna be here to watch me break down about this game. But yeah, so it was a tap game.
Idol Pride? It's like you have to just train the idols and...
Yeah, kind of like that, I think there's been several other games at this point. Actually, you know what? Most commonly, A3. A3 was pretty similar. To the point that they were pretty much constantly compared, actually.
I hope no in a toxic way, like Bungie Dream and Love
Oh,
Live
no, I mean...
fight.
Good news is that no one in the Idler 7 fandom that... I mean, the N-Stars fandom has any sort of toxic hate for A3 that I know of. I mean, I'm sure they exist out there. But no, the fandom that Enstars fights with is Side M. There's a bit of lore to that too, because the Side M stuff is because apparently people think that Ensemble Stars has tried to rip off Side M.
Why? It's so stupid when fandoms start to fight each other for stupid reasons.
Oh yeah.
That make me get away from idol community because they just fight between what idol anime was better and start to shit on the other one. So it's like, why?
Oh yeah. That you know what? I like to now happily call it the Idler 7 effect, because there was a thing that happened specifically when Idler 7, the anime kind of hit it big and then the game became well known, where everyone was like, it's not like other idol games, it's not like other idol anime. And it's like, no, but it is. In any case, yeah, so 2015, around April-ish, Ensemble Stars launches. And then it proceeds to run as a really basic looking tap game for like 5 years. Yeah, 5 years, because then it relaunched. So it was Ensemble Stars with 1 exclamation mark. That is the big difference. Yes, when it relaunched.
There's an anime that's a new game, and the difference between the first season and the second season is the exclamation. So it's like... Exactly.
This is like season 2. What you're playing is season 2, but you never played season 1, and you're not gonna ever get to play season 1 because that is 5 years of backstory that they just don't have the time to pay translators for. Like, flat out, the only reason that...
Please, I need to understand what is happening and why people want to get... why this...
We're getting there. So, basically... Yeah, so we're gonna get there. So basically the whole thing kind of changes in about mid-2019. The anime finally launches. Because yes, this got an anime actually. An anime that was put off by nearly 2 years. The anime was in production hell for quite a while. But it comes out July...
an anime, I have to say. Watch along. Ensemble Stars anime.
Yeah, no, the Ensemble Stars anime is... It's not bad. It's just that it doesn't cover nearly enough. But yeah, so the anime launches July 2019, right? And with this, they start to kind of hint at this idea that they're going to finally have some of the characters graduate. Because the entire plotline for 5 years of the game nearly is that everything takes place in 1 year. We'll call this Year X.
Okay.
So, yeah, Year X. This is so stupid. But the entire gameplay took place in this exact year, and no other year, really. And the whole thing was a loop. They had this very interesting way of putting out stories in a way that was kind of non-linear, but also chronological, because, like, the stories went in order. Like, so if you had a story in March, it was taking place in March. But then you have the Japanese school year, which kind of ends in March and then picks up again in April. So that was kind of your restart point. Every single April, it would be the start of Year X again. They would start the year again.
For my brain. What?
You know what? Okay, fine. That's not even the most useful part of this. Point is that they eventually had this anime. The 5 years of story was actually only 1 year chronologically, but you know, in game. So yes, with the anime, they start putting out the implications that there's going to be kind of a relaunch. Everyone thinks this is going to be mostly just an update to the UI because by the time you got to 2019, yeah, the actual gameplay looked pretty. I mean, well, not the gameplay. The UI looked very dated. I mean, I thought it was charming in its old-fashioned ways. But whatever. Yeah, so comes 2020 and they're like finally ready to try and put out their new game. I think it was 2020 that they did officially launch Ensemble Stars, and they split into 2 games at this point. Because 5 years of this stuff, and you know, they had a lot of music backed up. So they split into 2 games. Ensemble Stars, 2 exclamation marks, Basic, and Music. Basic was your regular tap-tap stuff. It was almost entirely the same. There was some mechanisms that they did change. Like, there's a couple of things about the work that's different and yada yadas that no one really cares about right now. But yes, more importantly, Music. The rhythm game version. And then they started raking in cash like you wouldn't believe. I mean, this was the top game in the general joseimuke sphere for a long time anyways. But the amount of cash that they raked in on Music has been a lot. A lot. Oh, okay, the BGM is a bit loud compared to my voice. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. Yeah, the loop is a wild thing, Vanilla. I may have to explain this to you one day just for fun. But yeah, so they bring out Music. Now, of course, with Basic and Music and, well, the 2 exclamation mark era, I kid you not, this is how fans have to differentiate. There's exclamation mark 1 era and exclamation mark 2 era. Yeah, so basically this is now year X plus 1. This is a year ahead of everything that happens in year X. But you have spent, you know, 5 years with those other characters. There's like, I don't know, 34 of them or something that were... No, I think it's a little less than... No, it might be 41. Yeah, I think it's 41 idols.
That's a lot of characters for an idol game.
It is a lot of characters for an idol game. It really is, and I love it. They're just so unhinged. The energy is good. But yes, so you've spent 5 years with these guys learning their stories, and then you move to year X plus 1, and now they can't do that. You know, they can't have you redo every single story, so they just don't. They start you off with a unit made up of completely new characters, Alkaloid. They add another unit made up of completely new characters, Crazy Bee. And then they toss you in here like, yeah, it's been a year, all the characters you know and love are there, but if you don't know them, tough luck! Yeah, they just, the anime was basically the big introduction to this whole game thing. Like, I mean, the anime is supposed to have, I guess, the very bare minimum of the plot that you need to probably understand some of the backstory. Emphasis on bare minimum, and emphasis on some of the backstory. The anime doesn't even scratch the freaking surface. But okay, let's start with the anime plot now. So yeah, the general plot is that all of these characters used to be a bit different. Like, for starters, every single one of them was in school. And remember, Alkaloid and Crazy Bee, they didn't exist. They didn't exist at all. Or let me actually just pull up the list of characters or something here for a sec. I should have grabbed the wiki. Actually, yeah, why am I screen sharing this? I should screen share the wiki.
The wiki?
Yes, the wiki. There's...
Why he's so cute?
He is adorable.
I also like who's called here? Tori Himemiya? Because he's short, pink hair boy.
Oh, okay, Tori. Yes, Tori is adorable. He is adorable. Oh my god.
Type. It's just this like. Oh.
I had a friend who once said that he looks like a chihuahua. It's unfortunately not even wrong. He's so small. Small and good.
Small.
It's okay. Good kind of small. Tori equals Wendy. You can't change my mind. That is so funny because I'm fairly certain that Venti's Seiyu actually is somewhere in Ensemble Stars. I don't know who he plays. But I think he's there. Or no, actually it's the other way. It might be the other way. Tori's Seiyu is in Genshin. Oh no, it is!
Oh.
It is Tori! That's hilarious. It's Tori, yep. There are a lot of characters. And my favorite part about this wiki is it breaks it up into the 1 exclamation mark era and the 2 exclamation mark era, so we're just going to look at... I'm gonna stop the game, actually, in the background, because this is kind of silly to have the game open when we're not actually playing, well, when I'm not actually playing the game. You are free to play the game and just, you know, tap away at the music notes, go wild. I'm just going to rant for a bit.
I want to get a scout because I have this
Ooh.
diamond.
Oh yes. Good luck. Sending you lots of gacha luck. Everyone, send good vibes in the chat.
Oh,
Ooh,
rainbow
ooh.
colors.
Wait. Ooh, it's a rainbow one. That is very nice.
4-star Sora.
Oh, Sora's cute. Sora's cute.
I like her hair. Like.
Oh, you should hear his laugh. He's got the funniest laugh. It's like, it's freaking adorable.
Daddy.
What a reaction! Oh my god, Hokuto, very nice, very nice.
Pum.
Hokuto's funny, he's chaotic.
I have 5 stars, 4 stars. Well,
Okay.
it will
Not bad, not
Good.
bad. Alrighty, so yes.
It's so hungry.
We get into the lovely wiki. So yeah, all of the characters back then were just students. You had students at other schools. You had teachers. There was 2 teachers. The teachers are funny actually. And then you have your main character Anzu. Now Anzu, there's so much. Yeah, Sora's voice is so high pitched. But yeah, okay, so Anzu's a bit of a story because technically it's implied that she was a character that also exists in the Ensemble Girls universe. And she was just kind of dragged over into this universe, and that's a whole thing that I'm not going to get into today. You know what? No, we have to limit ourselves. Yep, the only way we're getting through this is with lots of patience and dedication. But yeah, so Anzu is a new character to the school Yumenosaki Academy. She has been put into the first ever producer stream. Like, the Yumenosaki is an entertainment school. They train people in things like acting and, yeah, idols. But this is the first time that they've ever had a student in their newly made production program. So she's a producer for idols. She gets assigned to a class with a bunch of the guys from this unit called Trickstar. In particular, she's class 2A, I believe. So yeah, it's like the first half of these kids. But yeah, so she gets assigned to a class with these guys, and on the first day, she finds that there's this kind of weird underground idol battle thing going on. Like, yeah, stage play battles.
Like battle rattle? Raps battle, sorry?
No, it's kind of like stage battle type thing, except it's kind of against the school rules, so they get caught in the middle of the battle, and then they all have to scatter and run around, and she gets hit in the head, and it's a whole thing. And eventually, her new classmates, the members of Trickstar, eventually they tell her that, yeah, listen, so, you know, Miss Producer Lady, you're new here, but you're also a producer, which means that maybe you can help us change the system of this school. We're gonna start a revolution. Yeah, high school revolution.
Okay. High school revolution for the idols competition?
No, to change the entire way that the school program works. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're meant to
Okay.
be a little confused at first because it's like, what could possibly be wrong about this school? And then you start to find out. Basically, the school has this system set up where first rule is that every idol in the school has to be a part of a unit, and the unit has to consist of 2 or more people. You can't be in a single unit. I'll get to the one exception later.
Yes, I saw the solo guy. I
Yeah.
don't remember the name.
Madara.
But yes.
He's so pretty. Okay, but we're not gonna simp over him just yet. Anyways, yeah, no, he's the one exception, and there's like a whole reason for that, but that's for another day. Only because we're going to otherwise spend eternity on this. An absolute eternity. But, yes. So yeah, that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is that all idols and units must partake in these events called Dream Lives. Now the Dream Lives, what they are, is a kind of an idol competition. So 2 different units will kind of face off against each other, and it's decided by student vote which unit wins. Except the unit that always performs first is the unit that has a higher record of winning. Now this means that, and like students are kind of given participation marks or something based on voting, but this also means that there's kind of a system in place now where students will just vote for the higher unit, so the unit that performs first anyways, and then they'll skip and not even watch the second unit. So this is the large basis of what is kind of wrong in universe. I mean, there technically is a bit more to it, but this is what they're trying to fix. I mean, well, not just this, it's just the general idea is that the whole system is completely unfair. It doesn't give idols a proper chance to be idols. It ranks them on things that they really don't deserve to be ranked on. Things like that.
I understand. I should start a revolution too if that kind of thing happen.
Yeah, so they end up starting this revolution by trying to join a bigger school competition called no, it's not the SS. No, but they get to the SS. But the first thing that they try to do is they have to take down the student council vice president. Now, the student council vice president is a guy named Kato Hasamiya, and he's best friends with the student council president, but student council president is pretty much always out of school, or not always, but a lot of the times because a dude has weak immunity. He's really sick. So they're like, okay, if we defeat the vice president, then we're good. Then we don't need anything else. They defeat the vice president, or well, his unit. They defeat his unit or whatnot in a proper matchup, and they think that they've won. Only that this is when the student council president shows up, Ichi Tenchuin. And the guy seems nice, you know, he's vaguely sickly, but really nice. He talks to them really politely, doesn't try to be overly harsh, and then he tells them that, yeah, you know what, you guys from Trickstar, you guys are really, really talented. So how about I split you up? Disband your unit. And immediately they're like, what? And my favorite part of this ridiculous storyline is that, so Subaru has this little weird character quirk where he likes shiny things. And now Ichi, mostly in the form of shiny coins and money. The guy's a bit nuts about that. So Ichi actually tries to pay Subaru to leave Trickstar because he's like, you like money, right? You seem to have a thing for that. And Subaru is like, your money is not shiny. It's very good, okay? This is gonna make no sense at the moment, but that's fine. Anyway, so they eventually have to face off in this, like, school-wide competition called the SS, where they battle the other idol units. And, yeah, they do defeat Ichi's unit, which is called Fine. So they defeat Fine kind of just by pure luck, and that's kind of the end of the main story. Ichi doesn't exactly learn his lesson. It's more that what happens right at the end is that Subaru turns around to him, because Subaru is kind of the poster boy of the game, so he turns around to Ichi and he tells him, you know what? You really like idols, don't you? Because he's kind of put together that the only reason Ichi would be going this hard on his really wacky rules is that he just really likes idols and he wants to see them succeed, even if it means fostering a very unhealthy kind of competition. And so there's kind of peace has been made. Not a whole lot has changed, but rules are maybe slightly less strict, and they've at least proven to the school that, you know, any kind of idol can win. You don't have to be talented and already at the top. Just try your best kind of thing. Yada yadas. Now, all of this, the more interesting part of it, I mean, this is just like the prologue. The main story that I explained to you here, it's the prologue. It's about half of the anime, but it's inconsequential compared to everything else that the game focuses on next, which is the event stories. And I'm gonna pull up the story list for this. Good old story directory. Okay. So yeah, this was the story way back when. I mean, there's no longer actually stories recorded officially on the wiki. Like, they used to have translations, but they're no longer here. The timeline. They have a timeline. Oh my god, that's brilliant. Anyway, so this was the main story that I just explained to you. This happened. There's like 3 other parts to the main story that we're not going to touch on just yet, but after the main story was released, it was released within a month or something. After that, they started going into these event and scout stories. Now, the way that these worked was that you had 2 event stories and 2 scout stories every single month. You had 24 stories approximately in a year. Now, all of these included things like daily life stuff or seasonal events, you know, things like Halloween, Christmas. And so some of these repeated year by year. So like one year you would see Halloween, but you would see a specific unit and what they're doing on Halloween. And the next year you would see what the other unit is doing on Halloween, etc., etc. Now in the middle of all of this, they would have other events called these reminiscence events. Now what these were these took place before the current year. So before year X minus 1. Yeah, so what happened was that they explained how the school system came to be what it was, and specifically what is now known as the Yumenosaki War. Just let that sink in. War. Yeah, it's really, really wild. But basically, the school wasn't always this weirdly competitive, hyper-competitive, in fact, kind of place. In fact, it was way too chill. Now, Ichi Tenshuin, he is a really rich kid. His parents own some big conglomerate, and his family has a stake in Yumenosaki. Like, they fund the school for some reason. Kaito has been Ichi's best friend since childhood. They made this promise together when they were really young, where Kaito's like, look, Ichi, if you die, I will hold your funeral rites. Because Kaito comes from a family of Buddhists, I think? They may not be entirely Buddhists. His family has a temple. I know this much. Anyway, so Kaito and Ichi, they got together and they decided we are going to reform this school. Because all of the idols that graduated from Yumenosaki Academy would turn out to be lazy and incompetent, and they were just bringing down the idol name. And again, Ichi just really, really loves idols. The whole idol worship of his is the thing that keeps giving him the will to, like, get up in the morning. Man is not doing well health-wise. But yeah, so, and Kaito just does this because it's Ichi. This is his best friend. So yeah, they get together and they invented the whole Dream Live system. They initially tested this out on a completely different unit. There used to be a unit once upon a time named Chess. They later got reformed into another unit, but we'll get there. But yeah, so Chess was a fairly successful unit. And so what Ichi and Kaito did was to test out the system. They put this unit through, like, all the ringers, really. They made them battle in a bunch of Dream Live events. And then eventually, and they won all of these Dream Live events, right? And then eventually they came back around and they made them battle in a Dream Live event where the entire audience was filled with people that they'd already beaten. So people who were bitter that they'd lost to these guys, right? Huh? You can imagine, they all lost. This event suddenly turned it around. Their whole reputation sunk. They lost badly, overwhelmingly. And yeah, so that was the end of them, mostly. I mean, kind of. There was a whole breakdown. One of the characters kind of went completely nuts, forced the other character to like write songs continuously. The one dude had a mental breakdown, completely ran away from Japan and life, and then the other dude took over. It was a whole thing. I will get to Knights' story eventually. But yeah, they later renamed themselves to Knights to try and escape their bad reputation, and it still didn't help.
Oh, they are...
They are Knights.
I see that you need.
It's okay, it's okay. But yeah. So that's like a whole thing. I wonder what the timeline page has. Oh my god, they really do have everything in the order. This is lovely. But yeah. Let's see. Yeah, there's the Knights event, and now at this time, because this is a year before, Ichi is not the student council president, but Kaito is still the student council vice president, so he keeps turning to the current student council president, Rei Sakuma, to try and get some sort of help for their school's problems, that, you know, everyone is lazy and incompetent, and we need ways to, like, you know, motivate them, to make them actually want to do this idle thing, and Rei was just like, nope! Rei's whole thing is that he sort of believed that people should work their own way out here, but at the same time, Rei has like this hero complex going on almost. The guy feels like it is his responsibility to save everyone, so Ichi starts causing drama at Yumanosaki's sister academies overseas and sends Rei over there to like deal with all of that. Now Rei is gone. In the meantime, Ichi gets together with another student. His name is Tsumugi. And so what they do is they come up with sort of a plot, because Ichi wants to create kind of a monster for the students to fight. He wants to, metaphorically.
Oh,
he wants to
okay.
give them something that they can sort of fight against, rise up against, so they can, you know, feel more confident and feel like, yeah, we're idols, we can do this. So he gets together with Tsumugi.
Right?
And they No, it's fine. Go on. You were saying something?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's a little cold here.
Oh, okay, cool. Anyways, right, so that happens. So he and Tsumugi come up with this idea to use this idea of, like, some legend of three gods. The god of, I don't know, the underworld, the sky, and the water. And they take three very gifted students in the school, and they kind of name them sort of after these gods, or model them after these gods. Like, the whole idea is to try and present these very gifted students and say that these guys are inhuman. They're not normal. They're the reason people like you and I don't get opportunities, because these guys are in our way. Now, they do this by, so the students that they pick. So they take Rei Sakuma first, as kind of this underworld god. I mean, and the reason that this fits is because the guy goes around claiming he's a vampire. They pick another guy, Kanata Shinkai, as their sort of water god, and the last one, Wataru Hibiki, sort of the sky god. This is Oh, okay, I think I made a miraculous recovery.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, so I'm going to assume we were still on the god stuff. Right, so they have, you know,
the sky god.
Yes, okay. So, yeah, we had the underworld, we had the sky god, we had the water god, yada yada. So we have Rei, Kanata, and Wataru. So now they need to add 2 more people, because Tsumugi's like, no, it's gonna seem a little too obvious if it's only 3 of them. Make the number 5. And Ichi's like, okay. Who do you suggest? Because Tsumugi's whole thing is that the guy volunteered everywhere. In the library, in the sewing club, with the student council. He just did everything, he knew everyone. And so Tsumugi says that, okay, there's a guy in the 2nd year class named Shu Itsuki. And he's very different from the other students, apparently. Like, he values art above all else. He's kind of freaky about it. He kind of gave another guy a complete mental breakdown. He treats people like they are puppets. Anyways, he's like, this guy gives phenomenal performances. Like, he's not on the kind of level of...
Wait a little. I was playing what song? one song of three members unit, and they start doing a Fortnite dance, and I'm dying. Why?
What song was that? Oh my god.
I will tell you when I finish. Okay, you can continue. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Anyways. Yeah, so Shu Itsuki runs a unit called Valkyrie, which is more focused on performance than anything else. The quality of performance means everything to them. And the performance has to match specifically his worldview. It's very intense. Anyway, so Ichi's like, okay, this is a possibility. This is a possibility. So yeah, Shu has now been added to the list of people that they're going to toss in on their list of monstrous people. Then they pick up a last person, a new first-year student at the time, Natsume Sasasaki. I believe that's his name. I always mess up his name, but he's got kind of a strange last name, all things considered, because it's very, very similar to a very common last name, apparently, but it's just slightly off. In any case, yeah, so Natsume. So Natsume's thing is that his mother is a fortune teller. Hello? Oh, okay, my Discord may have cut off there. We're just gonna give it a second. Oh, okay, yes. Okay, I'm very sorry about that. My Discord flat out cut out, but I think we should be okay. In any case, right, so the five oddballs is how it's been commonly translated. A lot of times people have actually pointed out that five eccentrics might make more sense. Yeah, given that the Japanese term used for it, it actually implies more of like monstrous origins rather than, ooh, these guys are just kind of goofy. Which is like, I mean, like, yeah, what else do you think when you hear oddballs? Just some goofy fellows. But yeah, so the five oddballs. So then Ichi's mission becomes that he, so he forms a unit. Tsumugi is a part of this unit, and then he has two other students, Nagisa Ran and Hiyori Tomoe. So they all form a unit together, and their mission becomes that they are Fine, kind of, they have all these angelic vibes and yada yadas, and they act like they are the people's people. They are here to try and save all of the rest of the, you know, regular students from these monsters. They're here to prove that anyone can be a hero. It's dramatic, yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So
like
that's a whole thing.
It's confusing.
Yeah, I know. In English, you would pronounce it fine, but it's fine. I'm like, toss an accent on there if you're gonna be fake French. But yeah, so that's what they start doing, and in order to do this, they start sort of bringing down all of these other units. Ray is pretty much out of the picture anyways. Like, he's just flat out not there at the moment. So they go after, I believe it's Valkyrie first, Shu's unit. And in order to do that, what they, it's really, really underhanded. Tsumugi just happens to pass on some information to some of Fine's fans that they're gonna be facing off against Valkyrie. And yeah, you know, if someone happened to trip the lights and sounds during Valkyrie's performance, I guess that would be a real shame. So someone in the audiovisual department does that. They trip the lights, turn off the sound, completely mess up Valkyrie's performance. It gives Shu all kinds of trauma, which is sort of payback for him having...
I can imagine that.
No, I mean, the guy actually stops leaving his house, starts talking to this doll that he carries around as if it's a real person. It's fascinating stuff. I love it. He decides he hates Ichi forever. And the worst part about this, Tsumugi was in the sewing club. Shu runs the sewing club. They were friends. Tsumugi is like so snaky. I love my little snake child.
It's too much drama. It's like Mexican telenovela.
Oh yeah, the telenovelas. Yeah, I feel like the writer really watched too many telenovelas when he was making this, and it's like, you know what? Go off, dude. You have all the rights. But yeah, so yeah, that's how they take down Valkyrie. Switch, it said they don't really, it's not really a lot to, I mean, no wait, not Switch, sorry. It's just Natsume at the time. So Natsume apparently isn't all that hard to take down. They just kind of battle him in a one-off thing, and it's too much for him anyways. So he kind of goes down, and he's kind of betrayed by the whole thing because Tsumugi is also sort of a friend to him. Emphasis on the sort of, because, like, they knew each other in childhood. Tsumugi's mother used to run a dance school, and Natsume had enrolled in said dance school as a girl. Like, that's actually part of the lore here, that Natsume's mom forced him to dress up as a girl to enroll in an all-girls dance school because she owed someone a favor?
What? Like Nagisa from Assassin's Costume. I don't know if you see that anime, so that anime, but it's like this very girly boy and has traumas because of her mother forced him to dress like a girl.
I have not seen that anime, actually. I think I've heard of it, though. But
Yes,
no,
it's
it's not necessarily that deep. It's like everyone probably knew that Natsume was in fact a guy. It's just that like his mom made him do it for like all of a week just to, like, I don't know, scope out the school or advertise for the school. It was something like that. It wasn't very long. It's just that Tsumugi does like to occasionally bring up, oh yeah, Natsume-chan! And Natsume is just here like, I will blow your head off. Try me. I will kick you in the balls.
I will be messing with them, Chan.
It's kind of funny. But yes, in any case. So that's some weird lore there. But yes, they're kind of friends, and Tsumugi still set him up to be defeated by Fine. It's interesting stuff. And then there's the entire thing with Ryu Seitai. Now that's the unit that Kanata is a part of, and that is a lot more weird to explain. There are cults involved. Long story short, Kanata comes from a family of cults, and he was born into this family, and as the heir to the family, they thought he was the next god.
Huh?
Yes, they thought he was God.
Someone read you.
Hello, lovely raiders. You came just in time for the cults. I'm so sorry.
Good backstory.
This is. Oh god, no, I mean, the timing of this is truly, truly beautiful, very epic. But hello, my name is Mina Summers. I'm a half-fairy VTuber who also loves baking and really, really loves sparkly idol boys. I am never going to stop screaming about this. So today I have a collab set up where I'm going to introduce my friend here, Miruku. Yes, I said your name right. I'm so sorry. I have to double check it every time. Yeah, so we're gonna introduce Miruku to Ensemble Stars. Now introduce you.
I'm new to this, the very cute boys idol game, and Mina trying to explain me out the backstory, and I'm very confused.
Yay, so this is fun. So, what you've missed at this point, I've explained the fact that this game was not the first game. So the game that has currently released in English is called Ensemble Stars Music. Ensemble Stars with 2 exclamation marks, note. So this is not the first game. For 5 years, it used to be Ensemble Stars with 1 exclamation mark, and it used to be a completely different game, and there's 5 years of backstory, which wasn't carried over into this sequel game. Yes. So, good luck to anyone else out there who's trying to play this stuff, and if you're trying to look up the stories, I got you. You know what? Just join my Discord server. If there's a story you want, I will get you the link for it. I will find the translation. I've got Magical Ways, also known as Web Archive. Just in case anyone wants to look it up themselves. Web Archive. I wish I were joking. It's actually really that simple. But yes. Okay, yes, so Kanata Shinkai. So yes, he was born into a family that's, like, really cultish. I could not possibly say it any better than that. They do be believing that he is the next god. Now, he has another friend who is with him, Madara Mikajime. So he's also born into kind of around the same area. And so he has a younger sister who's kind of really, really sick. Now, when he was really young, he tried to wish to Kanata, because Kanata's god, right? And so he's like, hey, you know, you're the god. Can you, like, heal my sister?
Do something.
And Kanata couldn't. Kanata's just like, I don't know how to do that. And like, I mean, Kanata, keep in mind, he's grown up thinking that he's also god, so he doesn't know that he's not a god. But yeah, so it's at this point that Madara instead figures out that, oh, no, everything that we knew about our lives is a lie. This guy's not god, he's a regular high schooler. So Madara makes it his entire goal then to kind of try and let Kanata have as much of a normal high school life as he could. He manages to somehow get him enrolled in an idol school for some reason.
If you want a normal school life, the last thing you will is enter a idol school.
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so. Why do you want to be idols? But that's fine. That's fine. Idols are good, you know. Idols, yeah. Anyways, yeah. So he does that for some reason, and then Kanata joins another unit called Ryuseitai. Now, you can probably maybe guess from the name, they are based on the Super Sentai soldiers. Basically the stuff that later became Power Rangers in the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
So their whole thing is that they're supposed to be really heroic. One of the other members, Madara is one of also the members of this group, but he's kind of not there all of the time. Like, it's implied that his parents are Yakuza. So he's got, like, I guess, family jobs and stuff to do, and he goes around actually trying to be a vigilante on the side. Implied, of course.
His dad is Kiryu-Kazuma.
Yeah, this is wild. But, in any case, so yeah, he goes around trying to, like, do vigilante stuff. So, Ryuseitai really only has one proper member. His name is Chiaki Morisawa. The rest of the seniors in the group are just pretty useless. They don't like doing idol work. They're just there for the name, because Ryuseitai is one of the longest running idol groups that this school has ever had. They're a legacy group, and so these guys are like, yeah, clout. But, yep. So, Kanata ends up eventually friends with Chiaki, and long story short, they end up having to battle Fine, because Fine sets up Kanata to be this, you know, giant pariah. Like, he's a monster, he's terrible, we have to take this guy down. He's the big bad. And
Fine is like the heroes.
Yeah, and Fine is the heroes.
They're the hope.
And, like, yeah, so they do eventually take him down, but this involves completely ruining his friendship with Madara in the process. And there's a lot of very, very weird stuff. I never finished reading the story. I read, like, the reactions to it, and boy, was that wild enough. Imagine what it would be like if I finally read the story. Har har. But, yeah. So that one was a lot, actually. I think it's one of the longest event stories that came out, and it was definitely one of the most hyped. And then, yeah, after that, finally, the last of the 5 oddballs to be defeated was Wataru. Now, Wataru's whole thing is that he's a performer. He does, like, stage magic, things like that. He just gives performances. He's kind of a clown, to be completely honest. I mean, I say this in the nicest way possible. I like him. Clowns are okay. Ben 10 made the entire world fear clowns. Okay, Ben 10 lore for another day, though. But yeah, so he has to be defeated or whatnot, and they do that because he doesn't put up very much of a fight. But this is Fine's kind of last performance together as they currently are, and also kind of their last big fight, I guess you could call it, because by the end of this, Fine has realized, so Ichi made each of them sign a contract before they could, like, officially join Fine, and the contract basically stipulates that they're not really friends, and that the second that this battle is over, they disband. And Tsumugi is
like really, like, how to say it, company style of finance?
Yeah, something like that. It's very corporate. Yes, you are very right.
Corporate.
But, in any case, so... Yeah, so Tsumugi finally reads the contract the night before their last performance, and he's like, no, wait, Ichi, you can't be for real. Like, we're friends. We're friends. And Ichi's just kind of there like, no, we're not friends. I don't have friends. What are friends? You thought we were friends. Oh, are we friends? And then Tsumugi's like, okay, yeah, fine. I hope you do well in life, Ichi. Goodbye.
Pain.
Pain.
Emotional damage.
Oop, okay, sorry. Discord went and reloaded.
Everything.
Yeah, Discord went and reloaded on me again. That is fine. We're doing well. In any case, yes. So, Fine disbands, and then immediately after, Wataru, who is the only person left on stage, because all of Ichi's friends have ditched him. They're just like, you're no friend to us, Ichi. So Wataru is the only person left there, and so he instead turns around and he's like, so, how would you like to form a unit together? Let's remake Fine. And Ichi's just kind of like, why are you being nice to me, dude? I went on this crusade to destroy you and the few friends you have. And Wataru's like, yes, but because of that, I have friends. You see, before this, I had no friends. Then you set up this whole 5 oddball thing, and now I have people that kind of get me. And, you know, you're just kind of vaguely interesting. It's there is homoerotic subtext, let's just say that. There is a ship, and this is the ship. Wataru and Ichi are actually the game's biggest ship, or at least, like, I mean, the writer kind of really pushes this one. It's a whole thing. Ichi has a lot of ship potential.
More canon than most of the Love Live ship.
No, truly it is. Like, there's actually this one point where Wataru, like, hands his mask to Ichi, and it looks very much like a proposal, and Ichi is just kind of like, what does this mean? And Wataru's like, I am giving myself to you. Literally. And Ichi's like, and what does that mean? Because Ichi's just so emotionally dense, he doesn't seem to realize that he could have friends. He knows that he's kind of not a good person. It's a lot. It's a lot. Anyway, so this is the backstory on just the war. Then there's everything else that is the main story, I guess, or like all of the other event stories. Like, there's lots of other stuff. Knights gets a lot of focus. Then there's good old Madara, who comes back. At this point, I guess we need to start explaining the stories by character, maybe? Or actually, let's try to very vaguely wrap up the rest of the main story. Right, so the rest of the main story, it's kind of like, it was released as a 3-part event series called, Kisuke. So now what it is that because Trickstar won the SS, they now have the right, they've won the right to, oh no, they didn't win the SS, they won, no, what did they win? Oh my god, I hate myself. Okay, no, point is that they won the big competition, whichever one it was that they won, and because of this, they have won the right to participate in a bigger competition, which is actually the SS. Now, the SS is kind of an international idol competition, or, no, not international, just national. A national idol competition. So this is like the second half of the anime. This is what is covered in the second half of the anime. So they learn about units that are from different schools, and they have to kind of face off against them to try and learn and grow. So the first part of it is called Summer Live. They run into a unit called Eve, and they come from a school called Reimei Academy. Yes, Reimei Academy. Now, one of the members of Eve is Hiyori Tomoe, one of the former members of Fine. So he kind of comes around mostly as a favor to Ichi to try and help Trickstar, you know, do well. But yeah, and then there's Revenge Match, which kind of takes place in fall instead, and they face off against the sisters unit to Eve. And this unit is called Adam. Adam and Eve, get it? They weren't even subtle about this, so I can't be subtle either. But yeah, so they have Adam and Eve together. Oh no, wait, I realize Adam and Eve is also a sex toy company.
What?
Yes, there is actually a there's a adult toy company by that name. I don't know this for any particular reason, it came up as a YouTube ad. No, I swear to God.
If you say okay.
But anyways, moving along. This was sad. Okay, anyways, so yeah, they face off against the other unit, Adam, and Adam actually goes to a different school called... No, wait, if that one is Reime. And what's the other one? I love this. I'm having a dumb moment. It's okay. It's okay. Just... I'm gonna find this, okay?
I'm decorating my office.
Shuetsu Academy. There we go. So, yeah. So they go to Shuetsu Academy, and like in this story in particular, Trickstar actually goes to the other academy, and they start to learn that this other academy works very differently. Basically, like rules are kind of stricter. There's this kind of hierarchy of special students and not special students, and all of that kind of going on, and yada yada. And all of the idols at these school, at least the special students, are signed to an actual company, a production company that handles all of their idol work. They're all assigned. I mean, Adam and Eve are both signed to a company called Cosmic Productions, and one of the members of Adam, a guy named Ibra, actually is, in fact, a member of the board or something, of chairman for Cosmic Productions. He kind of inherited it. There's a bit of a long story going there, which I'm not going to get into today. Or maybe I will, but later. Anyway, so the whole point is that they eventually get around to the SS storyline. And this is where they have to, you know, face them in, like, so Adam and Eve they're two units, but they're also one bigger unit together. These are like their subunits. So the bigger unit is called Eden. Har har, Bible joke. Or, yeah, it is the Bible, yes.
Maybe the writer just find out what a Bible is, so he just have to put it in our river.
It does seem to be the case. I mean, there's lots of other stuff, like some of their lyrics are very philosophical about the existence of God. Their first song is called Genesis. This wasn't subtle. But as we go on, anyways, yeah, so the SS storyline. Now, the importance of this storyline is mostly that it covers Subaru's backstory. Now, all of the other idols in Trickstar, you kind of get their backstory fairly early on. Like, Hokuto comes from a legacy family. His dad was an idol. His mother is an actress. Makoto was a child model who was completely ruined for life because of the whole modeling thing, and then became a shut-in gamer. And then turned around and decided he was going to be an idol. Subaru, on the other hand, it's known that his dad used to be an idol, but his dad is dead. It's just him and his mom and his one little dog now. His dog is adorable. Daikichi is so fluffy. I love that dog. I do love that dog. Actually, my screensaver on my laptop for a very long time used to be a picture of Subaru and his dog. It's good stuff. Anyways, yes. So, Subaru's backstory. Now, you know his dad is dead. You know the circumstances surrounding it are not great, but you don't know why for a very long time. Like, people in his first year, you know, back in the year of the war, they used to go out of their way to avoid Subaru because of the reputation that his dad came with. And it was just kind of like, oh, but why is this? This story you find out the reputation his dad came with. His dad... where do I even start? So his dad is dead, yes. His dad died in prison, and he was in jail because he supposedly killed a fan by pushing them off the stage. A fan threw themselves at him, and he was blamed for supposedly pushing them off the stage. The whole thing is actually a giant conspiracy. There's a lot of stuff that's linked to Nagisa, actually. So Nagisa was kind of orphaned really young, and he was adopted by a dude called the Godfather. That's kind of just his weird nickname. But he's got a really big stake in the idol world, and he was linked to Subaru's dad. It's all implied. I'm not going to get into too many details, because this is a storyline that will eventually be touched upon in some more detail in the 2 exclamation mark era. 2 exclamation mark era. Yeah. But yes, so, you know, it all comes back around, I guess. Anyways, So yeah, so that's what you find out, that this whole thing happened, and you find this out because someone at Cosmic Production, behind all of their idols' back, put up a video of the scandal that kind of ruined Subaru's father. They put it up on the big screen, and then go and have this little clip that says, "This is that Akihoshi's son." Just to ruin Trickstar's chances of winning. And it's like, what? In any case, eventually, Trickstar manages to gather proof at, like, the very last minute, because Hokuto's dad used to be friends with Subaru's dad, and so he's been looking for the proof for this for years, to officially point out that no, all of this was a scandal that was set up. He was set up to look like the bad guy here, when in actuality, the guy didn't do anything wrong. And so, you know, yada yada, Subaru is now free. Sort of. Anyway, so that's the whole big thing that kind of happens there. That's the giant plot twist at the end of it. Then there's Project Saga, which is a two-part story that has a lot to do with, like, the teachers, and it has some stuff to do with Hokuto and his family as well, but I'm gonna skip that because Hokuto's family does come in again in the new timeline. So we're gonna actually skip to the last part of the main story, a thing called EP Link. Now, what this is that this is the story where, like, I mean, it's been implied for a few stories before this, but this is the last official story that came out in the 1!! era. So this was, this came out, I guess, at the end of, actually, I think it was fall of 2019, I think this story came out. And so basically, this story, what happens is Ichi starts setting up the groundwork for the next year, the next story. He starts to put together all of the stuff needed to start up his own idol production agency. An agency called Ensemble Square. Square because it's actually going to be one big agency that houses 4 smaller agencies under it, one of which is also Cosmic Production, but there's Star Maker Productions, there's Rhythm Link, there's New Dimension. You know, all of the stuff that you've already probably seen in the game that you're playing right now. Mm-hmm. So this is Ichi kind of laying the groundwork for that. This is also where, Wataru basically confesses his love for Ichi, and Ichi's like, what does this mean? So they really go nowhere. Wataru is trying extremely valiantly. I'm gonna be completely honest and say I don't even like the ship necessarily, but you cannot deny that there is a lot of support for it, like in canon. Mm-hmm. It's almost oversaturated is my problem with it, but you know,
maybe too much for the ship.
Yeah, especially when it's like, I don't know, I mean, my issue is mostly just that Ichi and Wataru they should interact with characters other than Ichi and Wataru. Like, occasionally they should talk to their unit mates. That's all. It's nitpicky stuff, but in any case, so yeah, so this is the story that sets up everything for our main story. Congrats, you've made it to the end of the main story of the previous era of Ensemble Stars. Kind of barely, but you did it.
My brain can... so much information.
It's okay, don't worry. Now we're gonna run through the characters instead. Yeah, we're gonna break down the characters, like really, really loosely for some of them. For other ones, I might bring up plot points that are actually going to be kind of relevant, maybe, or they should be relevant at some point. Okay, so we're starting with the first years in the old game. So you have Tetra Nagamo here. So he's one of the members of Ryuseitai, but his whole thing was that he wanted to be like manly. He tried to join the other unit called Akatsuki, and he didn't make it in.
Akatsuki because well, daddy.
Yes, daddy. But yeah, he didn't quite make it in. He did join, I think, like the karate club or something of that. I don't think it's actually karate. It is some form of a self-defense club that is run by Kuro, who is one of the members of Akatsuki. Anyways, yeah, right next to him you have Hajime Shino. He was actually a scholarship student. His family does not have a whole lot of money on them. Certainly not enough money to be sending him to fancy idol school, and he's got, like, apparently it's implied several younger siblings, yada yadas, but he's here. He's adorable. He's nicknamed Shinanon. He and Subaru are besties because they do a lot of school jobs together for extra money. Trying to earn that coin, gang.
We must protect.
Yes, no,
Sure.
he's adorable. His other two friends are, weirdly enough, Ichi and Ritsu. So the reason for that is that they're all in the tea ceremony club together. And Ichi and Ritsu have this kind of unspoken competition about, no, he likes me more. No, Hajime likes me more.
What they don't know is that he loves me more.
That's right, he will. No, actually, though, his favorite person alive is Subaru. It's like the funniest thing ever. He's like a huge Subaru stan. And then you have his best friend, Tomoya. They've been best friends since before Yumenosaki and since before the whole idol thing. And Tomoya's whole thing is that he's actually also in the theater club, and he's a really, really big fan of Hokuto-senpai. So the one thing that he and Hajime don't agree on is which member of Trickstar is the best. It's brilliant. But yeah, Hokuto's whole thing, sorry, not Hokuto. Tomoya's whole thing is that he's extremely plain. He doesn't have a lot else going for him. Like, he is the normal cast, the most normal guy in the cast. He's not the bread boy, actually, because there's another guy who's, like, flat out the bread boy. But yeah, he's like white toast. At least in this game. Yeah, Tomoya is just some guy affectionate. Yes, he's so good. He is really good. But yeah, so he joins the theater club, and Wataru starts putting him through hell because Wataru is the leader of theater club, and he doesn't actually say it to Tomoya at any point, but he kind of keeps implying that Tomoya has no future in being an idol. At least not the way that he currently is, because at the moment he's in a unit that kind of takes advantage of, the cute youthfulness of being a teenager. Yeah, it's all cutesy, youthful stuff, but it's like, at some point the guy's gonna grow up. He's going to gain a deeper voice, he's going to get taller, and all of that cutesy aesthetic is gonna go bye-bye. So Wataru is instead drilling him to try and make a good actor out of him. He's doing what he thinks is best, but he does this by completely torturing poor Tomoya. Tomoya will run down the hallways to get away from him. It's a lot. For comedic effect, mind you. Anyways, then we have Aoi Hinata, or Hinata Aoi. I should read this in the Western form, just to, keep things consistent. So he's one of the two twins. There's Yuta and Hinata. And if I'm not mistaken, Hinata is the one that likes spicy things and the color pink. And so the whole twin thing is that they were... Actually, how much can I reasonably say? A trigger warning for, severe mental health problems, I guess? Yeah, this is your warning. Or perhaps also trigger warning for... suicide? Yeah, those are your trigger warnings at the moment. Yeah, long story short, there's an actual story where I'm pretty sure it's Hinata who tries to just toss himself off the school roof because he's had it. So long story short, their backstory is that their mother either died early or left the family or something of that sort. I think she died. And then their father became a drunk, abusive father, basically. And he wouldn't even get the twins right. They were too much alike. So Hinata, being the older twin, took it upon himself to kind of become different. He forced himself to eat spicy food until he came around to liking it, made himself wear pink where his brother would instead wear blue, or stuff like that. Is this Hinata? Please tell me this one's Hinata and I'm not mixing up the twins. Oh my god, I'm gonna be horribly embarrassed if I do. Yeah, okay, Hinata's the older one. Hinata is the older one. Please be the one that likes, yes, spicy food. No, dislike spicy food. Shoot, no, so it's the younger one. God damn it, I messed this all up. I should have checked all of this. Okay.
Remember a little of the twins of Aura and whose school?
I think maybe. In any case, actually no. So it's actually Yuta who was the one who decided to, I guess, force himself to change. Hinata just did Hinata, and he tries to be the older brother, but Yuta's often confused for the older one because he's like the more responsible one, the more quiet one, the one who doesn't completely jump off the wall all of the time. Anyways, yeah, okay, so actually I mixed up the two twins. There was a story. It was quite a story. I'm not gonna say much more about that, but yeah, so their backstory is quite a ridiculous thing. This does kind of carry over into the new story, which is the only reason I'm even mentioning it. I mean, I don't think they ever mentioned the, I don't think they ever mentioned that again. I will say that. What does happen is that eventually Yuta decides that he doesn't want to be his brother's identical copy, so like, Twink. Yes, that does sound a lot like Twink, but I don't think it was intentional. Yeah, so he eventually decides he doesn't want to be his brother's copy, and so like they start changing their image just a little bit so that they don't completely match. There's this really cool thing that he eventually does where like his hair is actually different. Let's see if I can find it. Gosh.
Really?
Yeah, he starts to do his hair a little bit differently. Like he grows it out slightly more than his brother eventually. It hasn't come at this point in the story. I will say that. Maybe it's in the gallery? Hang on, this is gonna take a second.
Wait.
Ooh, thank you for the health check redeem. Very much appreciated. We're going to drink some water, and actually no, we're gonna stretch first. Yes, because stretching is good. Okay, stretched, checked our posture, and now we're gonna drink. Chocolate milk, actually, but you know what? Hydration. Was it a scout story, maybe? Okay, no. Okay, let's see. Where is his hair different? Or is it you? Maybe it's the other twin. I'm horrid. I'm a fake fan of these twins, clearly.
Hey, it's called. Oh, no, nothing. Look at it.
Chocolate milk moves are epic. Thank you. Is there a way to tell the twins apart in their art?
Milk.
I think it has to do with the side of where they have their clips put in. They have it on opposite sides. Otherwise, the pink and blue thing is your biggest difference. Yeah, okay, so he has the clips, what is that, the left side? That's the left side. So Hinata has the clips on the left side, and I think Yuta has it, yeah, on the right side. Yeah, so that's the biggest difference. Okay, I can't figure out exactly when it is that they do have the art change, but I know one of them does eventually get a slightly different haircut. Emphasis on the slightly? I'm trying to figure out. Oh, no, it's right there. It's right there. Yeah, it is Yuta. He starts growing his hair out. And he ties in this adorable little half pony, and I'm like, you are so pretty. So pretty. Like, look at this boy. Yes, oh, thank you for letting me know. Utah's Valentine's Day went 5-star. Thank you so much. He's so pretty. And look at that nail polish, so well done.
I didn't notice this.
Yeah, he has nail polish on. It's so pretty. I'm fine. I love these boys a normal amount. Anyways, okay, that's enough of the twins for now, I guess. Yeah, the hairstyle change is so cool, and it's going to be permanent. Like, they've actually put an announcement in-game saying that this would be a permanent thing, and that it would be reflected in the model, I guess, after February every single year, but in the few months before February, it wouldn't, you know, yada yadas. Because they've still got the weird looping timeline. I think they still have the weird looping timeline. I haven't actually compared the timeline of the new game just yet. My point is, new hairstyle, very cute. I love. Okay, then we have Midori Takemine, also known as I love this boy. Do I say this to every character? Perhaps, but no, this one is great. So his family, he comes from a family of like grocers. They live right next door to the school. They They literally just, like, I don't know, I mean, they don't do, like, they don't farm or anything like that, but they work in agriculture and they sell vegetables, fresh vegetables, I think. So yeah, that's their whole shtick. Now, he applied to Yumenosaki kind of by mistake. See, he meant to apply to the general program, because there is a general education program, but he applied to their idol program by mistake and then got stuck in it. And now he's just like, oh my god, someone kill me, I don't want to do this. All of the time. And then, I mean, his whole character arc in the original story was to grow past that whole please kill me attitude. He's also the tallest of the first years. Like, if you line them up in terms of height, and I'm gonna actually pull out the tweet just to prove this, because I have a tweet for this. But yeah, so if you line all of the characters up by height, you will find that he just stands there with a bunch of the third years. Very funny stuff.
What?
Yeah, he's tall enough to be, like, with the third years. It's great. Actually, okay. So yeah, this is the tweet with the height. I will also send it to you. Can we zoom? We can not really zoom. We're gonna open the image in a new tab. And there we can zoom. There we can zoom. Also, just for all intents and purposes, Nazuna is the shortest third year, and I'm his height. 160 centimeters. He is baby. He is shorter than every member of his unit, and his unit is made up of first-year students. Nazuna, I love you. Representation. Small squad. But yeah, Midori, just right there, in between all the third years. It's so funny. Midori's also on the basketball squad. Much to his own agony, because the leader of the basketball squad is Chiaki, and Chiaki's like, how do I say this? Well, his whole life goal was to be a Super Sentai hero. So he tries to emulate that in everyday life. Yeah, that's how to say it. He's really, really hyper. And Midori is just here like, please kill me, I don't have energy. And instead, his basketball captain is also his unit mate and captain, and he's just like, no, get hype! You got this, Takamine! And it's like, oh no. Funny stuff. Anyways, yeah, so Midori by the end of that year, or whatnot, the end of the original story, kind of comes around and he's like, yeah, you know what, being an idol is not bad. Chiaki's not so bad either. Everyone is friends. He's a good guy, I like him. He loves stuffed toys. He's basically just me, except I'm short. And he got to be tall. Anyways, then we go to Torei Himemiya.
My boy.
Yes, he's adorable. So he is a member of the student council, one of the kind of lower ranked members on the student council because he's just a first year. But yeah, he's a member of the student council and also a member of Fine, the new formed Fine. Not like the past Fine. But yeah, his basically he saw Fine's final performance against Bataru, and it has been his dream to be an idol ever since then. He wants to be with Fine. He thinks that everyone in Fine is like the greatest thing ever. He's just like so excited about that. He's also a spoiled little brat. He comes from a rich family. One of his other unit mates, Yuzuru, is his butler, who was sent to school with him to watch over him. And he doesn't quite yet know the extent of his family history, I will say, long story short. I have to explain this with Yuzuru's backstory. So Yuzuru was an orphan. Or, no, he wasn't an orphan, sorry. Yuzuru's friend Ibra, he was the orphan. Okay, yeah, so Yuzuru was sent to be trained as a child soldier by a kind of, I guess a military training camp run by Tori's own family. And Tori's just like, what? My family did what? Because yeah, he kind of didn't know all the details to this stuff. And he's got a younger sister who's like very sick, and a dog. He loves this dog. The dog hates Yuzuru. But the dog exists. His name is King. He's very, very fluffy. Yeah, Tori's big arc is just kind of being humbled, coming more down to earth, and gaining an awareness of the world around him. He's besties with Shinanon. And he keeps trying to tell poor Shinanon that no, you have to stand up for yourself. Don't let these upperclassmen bully you. He's a good kid. Just a little annoying, but adorable.
Oh.
Yes. Anyways, then we have Shinobu Sengoku. So he's the token ninja kid, I guess. I mean, there are better ways to put this, I swear. He's a member of Ryuseitai as well, because I guess this was the closest he was gonna get to ninja. He's cute, very happy. Thinks that... I mean, he's too happy and loud to be a proper ninja, but you know, he thinks like that ninjas are cool, and superheroing is cool. Very excited about this stuff. Overall, just a good kid. I don't think he has a very deep character arc at any particular point in the original story at all. Yeah, may as well note right now, most of the first years don't have the most detailed character arcs, with the literal exception of Tsukasa. The rest of them were kind of not the most popular, so they didn't get as much content.
I don't know, like when companies do that, like this character is not popular, so we don't make content for them.
Yeah, like I know Shinanon's first 5-star card only came 4 years into the game. 4 years into the game. I know, because I ranked for that baby.
But it's like, if you want a character to be more popular, you have to make content about that character.
Part of the reason is that these first years knew nothing about the big war that happened before they came. They had no connection to it, and the big war was kind of the giant storyline, right? So if they have no connection to it, they kind of have no connection to the bigger, more interesting part of the plot. Is kind of at least that's kind of the thinking behind it, right? Anyways, yes. Then we have Mitsuru Tenma. Now, this one is the bread boy. He's on the track team. He really loves bread, and that is apparently such a great love that it's an actual character trait. But yeah, he's a part of Rabbit. He's a good boy, very happy, really hyper, runs around a lot, hates Shu. This is a weird one. Shu goes absolutely nuts over the fact that this boy looks adorable in shorts, and this guy's like, no, don't come near me. I will not pass judgment on anything else apart from that. I mean, like, you take it as you will. And I know some people will take it. But yeah, then we get over to Yuta. We've kind of already explained him. I'm actually going to skip Tsukasa for a second and move to Sora. So, Sora is actually a new member in a new unit that shows up, like, kind of in the middle-ish of the game or something. Like, okay, so basically, when the game started in 2015, they didn't actually have all of the units that they currently have. Like, so they added some new units in the game later on, one of which was Ma'am. I know, that's how it's spelled, and that's how it is, so that's Madara. And the other one is a Switch. And then they brought in another character to rejoin Knights, because there was a whole thing with Leo. But yeah, so Switch is kind of one of the newer units. Or it was one of the newer units. It's been such a long time, I am old. And yeah, so Sora is the first year member of Switch. Now the other two members of Switch are Natsume and Tsumugi. You know, Natsume, one of the 5 oddballs, and Tsumugi, the guy who helped defeat the 5 oddballs.
Uh-huh.
Totally normal stuff happening here. But yeah, Sora is kind of the newest one of them, and he's got some sort of synesthesia. He says that he can see people's aura, and their auras have colors. It's very fascinating. Anyway, so Switch's whole thing is that they focus on magic, except their magic is all kind of science and light tricks, with the exception of Sora, who like genuinely seems to believe that magic exists, and he's a bit of a video game nerd. So yeah, lots of yeah, gamers. This series has gamers. There's an actual gaming club. Fun stuff. Anyway, so Sora's plotline is mostly just that he's there. He keeps the peace between Natsume and Tsumugi because otherwise Natsume is like half ready to throw Tsumugi out a window. And Tsumugi is just like, but Natsume-chan, we're friends. Tsumugi is like a weird one. Like, he's extremely smart. And then sometimes he makes questionable choices.
IQ boy.
Questionable, yep.
Sometimes.
Anyway, so Tsukasa Suo. Now, he is kind of the exception to the first-year characters aren't really popular rule. He is very popular. Extremely popular. He is one of the members of a unit called Knights. Now, Knights has a lot of deep, deep trauma linked to the war thing that even Tsukasa gets dragged into. So that's a large part of it, and also he thinks that he's the most competent member in this unit. Like, Knights is well, remember, they used to be called Chess, and before that they were like a legacy unit, so they're a long-standing unit with a good reputation, so he joins the school as, you know, a very proper, stand-up, rich child, and he's like, I'm going to join this unit because they have a good reputation on them, and they are said to be professional. And then he gets to the unit. He meets his senpais, and he's like, you are all buffoons who have no dignity. I mean, not quite like that. I need everyone to know right now, I'm exaggerating pretty much. I'm not all of it, but a lot of it. Especially my kind of interpretations of the characters are mostly just interpretations. I haven't read every single story in full. I've read quite a few stories. I don't remember necessarily all of them either. So take everything with a grain of salt. If you have a different interpretation of a character, or if my interpretation is exaggerated, then yes, it is in fact exaggerated. Half for comedy and half for the fact that this is just how I kind of view them. But anyway, so yeah, so Tsukasa comes in there and he's just like, these guys are morons. And at one point he tries to argue that he should be the one to lead the entire unit, because the rest of these guys clearly can't do it. Now, actually that's the thing. His arc, like, because one of the bigger events that, like, one of the bigger final events is actually Knights' sort of graduation event, because yeah, come every March or so, they usually have a big graduation event, and it focuses on a different unit each year or whatnot. So the last year that they did have a proper graduation event, it was Knights. And Knights has a lot of, like, stuff to work through for that, but yeah, Tsukasa ended up actually voted in to be Knights' new unit leader over two of his senpai who were going to be sticking around for the next year. It's interesting stuff. I'm not going to say a whole lot more, I guess, right now, because most of Knights' history, I guess, is more important here than Tsukasa's storyline, because he does get some more stuff in the new game. I'm mostly just trying to fill in the blanks of anything that's necessary, and yeah, so, like, I guess the most important thing to note here is that he didn't initially get along with his unit mates, and he was initially, like, you know, extremely stand-up guy, if a bit of a stick in the mud. He comes around, he loosens up a little, gets along with his unit mates much better, and is oftentimes the one to kind of force Knights to do better and to change. You know, he's the force of good.
Improve.
Yeah.
He tries to.
Yes, exactly. Anyways, then we get to the second years. Subaru Akihoshi. We've already talked about his dad, and that's kind of his big backstory. Other than that, Subaru is something up a genius. Like, he's really good at performances. Like, stick him up on a stage and this guy performs like he's a professional. The more people that he has watching him, the better he gets. The rest of Trickstar is just kind of struggling to compete. Subaru is sort of in a league his own.
Subaru is carrying her unit members.
Subaru also, Subaru's also got this thing, which I really love this about him, but a lot of people don't. Despite how he looks, like, you know, he looks like this cutesy, happy type. He's mean, man. He is mean. He's, he's got, like, very low empathy. That's the best way to put this. Like, oftentimes he says so himself that he just can't relate to the problems of anyone else, really. He just doesn't care. Like, even their whole school revolution thing, when they were doing that, he didn't give a damn about it. He's like, I don't care what the rest of the students are doing. I don't really know, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Hey, you know what? We could blow up the school and that would solve all of our problems. He does suggest this. Twice. Blow up the school. Yeah, so he's got issues.
Mm-hmm.
That's a kind way to put it, actually. But yeah. So he just has really low empathy, and eventually he comes around to, like, I mean, he was just kind of playing at the whole revolution thing, because, like, the rest of the members are doing it. Okay, sure, this sounds like it could be a fun little waste of time. Until he eventually sees Shinanon, one of the few friends that he does have outside of his unit, is genuinely hurt by the way that this system is set up. Like, he's not being given a chance to perform and yada yadas, and then Subaru's like, damn, you know what, maybe the school system really does suck. I didn't quite get it until now. And this is like an ongoing character trait with him, though. He just doesn't get things. I mean, this is completely armchair psychology moment, but I have to assume that the reason that he acts like this a lot is probably like some sort of trauma response, because again, he lost his dad really young, and it's implied that that was a complete and utter mess. Like, him and his mother had to... Yeah, sort of. I mean, like, he and his mother had to move around a lot. They struggled a lot with money, because while their dad left behind a lot of money, like, the dude was a hugely successful idol. One of the most successful really ever seen. So he left around a lot of money, but his mother doesn't necessarily want to touch all of that money, because it's all they have left of him. Like, they got nothing. He was taken to jail the night of Subaru's birthday one day, and they had nothing. They couldn't say goodbye. He died in that jail cell. Allegedly. I'll let that be a spoiler.
Oh, no.
In any case, yeah, so Subaru has a lot of trauma that he just sort of never deals with, never really talks about. So instead, he just lives his life kind of ignoring that there are problems. Once again, this is mostly just an armchair psychology moment. It may not be exactly how the writers intended it, but this is kind of what I've gleaned from it. But yeah, he's really, really mean because of it. A part of it is that his whole little genius attitude thing is, yeah, I mean, he just does stuff and he's good at it, and he's just like, well, I don't know why you guys can't do it. You could do better than that.
I like that kind of character that is mean, so it's not a problem for me.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it too. I think part of the reason I love him is because he's so mean and just lacks so much empathy sometimes. It's just that a lot of people probably go in thinking that, you know what, he's gonna be this nice, adorable little happy sunshine character. He's gonna be like Sakuya from A3 or Riku from Idolish 7. And it's like, no, you guys are in for a complete brat. In the nicest way possible. I say brat affectionately. I love him. He's my favorite character. Clearly, I've got issues. Anyways, the next character is Hokuto Hidaka. So, yeah, he comes from kind of a legacy family. Mother is an actress. Father is an idol. He has made it his mission to make it in the entertainment world, and he's going to do both. He's going to be an idol, and he's going to act. He's a terrible actor. He is a terrible, terrible actor, actually, at the start of things. Apparently, he's been improving really, really slowly. And Wataru is just here like, okay, at least you're finally improving.
Something.
He's also kind of, he's got a stick up his butt as well, kind of, but in a more comedic sense. Like, he thinks that, you know, there are rules and procedures, and we do this the right way. We're gonna start a school revolution, but we're gonna do this the right way. It's such a contradiction. He's extremely serious, but again, and only in the comedic way. He's not actually all that serious. It's just done to be funny. Yeah, let's see, what's his big arc? I guess one of his things is that he doesn't get along with his father. Now, it's not that his father is bad. He keeps claiming that his father sucks and he hates him, but his father, when you do see him, is a fairly normal, if a bit clingy and overprotective kind of parent. So we're not entirely sure what the whole thing is there. He loves his grandmother, because it's implied that his parents used to leave him with his grandmother when they had to do, you know, longer work projects and things. So, yeah, he loves his grandmother. He likes a very specific type of candy. He's also kind of the, So he was the guy that at the start of the game, all of the stories used to kind of ship him with your player character, Anzu. So there was a lot of ship bait going on there for a while. Then it sort of dimmed out a little. He's a good guy. I'm trying to find ways to explain him. Like, one of my best friends is a huge Hokuto stan, and I swear, Vic could explain this so much better. I'm trying to do her justice, and it's like... He's just really, really funny, basically. Really over the top. Like, at one point or another, Ichi tries to give him tea, and the guy's not taking the tea. And then eventually, finally, he takes the tea, and then he puts it down, and he's like, huh, it's not poisoned. And Ichi's like, why would I poison you? Yes, Gap Moe. Thank you, that is the word I was looking for, Vanilla. Yeah, he's basically Gap Moe. Looks serious and smart and studious, is kind of dumbass. Is also very extreme. Like, if he thinks that you're, like, gonna start something, yeah, he's ready to put his fists up and fight you. And everyone else is just like, no, stop starting fights here. We are tired.
Oh, it's like, how to say it, like, explosive?
A little, yeah. He's kind of hot-headed. He's kind of hot-headed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. That would be good. Mm-hmm. We got this. Words. We are the wordsmiths.
Dictionaries, okay.
That would have been helpful, actually. But okay, so then we have Makoto Yuki. Yeah, so the guy was a child model. He was very, very well known, hit popularity pretty fast. It made his mother lots of money. It burned him out, he hated it, ended up with depression, became a video gamer, locked himself in his room for years, and then ruined his eyesight. That is the reason he wears glasses. Video games.
That's why all of us have to work.
Truly. But yeah, so that's kind of just a snippet of his backstory. He is kind of childhood friends with another guy, Izumi Senna, who is a member of Knights. Emphasis on the kinda. Izumi is, like, absolutely obsessed with Makoto. The reason Izumi went into modeling when he was young as well was to be like Makoto. He's obsessed with him, like, truly obsessed with him. There's some point in the main story where he tries to kidnap, as he calls him, Yukun. And Makoto is just like, what is my life? But yeah, I don't think he has like a really big plot line. I know one of his bigger insecurities is that he's not really, like, he thinks that he's not a very good idol. All of his skills are more in tech. Like, the guy does a lot of technology work. He's really good. Like, he's a part of the audiovisual club, I'm pretty sure. So he does a lot of, like, lights and sound and things like that. I think he can hack as well, it's kind of implied. But yeah, so he's not the most physically strong either, so things like dancing, not really his forte. Singing, he doesn't really have enough practice to be considered good, so he's got a lot of insecurities about being an idol when he's kind of not cut out, he thinks. Over the series, he kind of gets over some of these insecurities. He also kind of gets over some of his issues with Izumi. They work things out, yeah. Then we have Soma Kanzaki. I love this guy. He's hilarious. He is the most straight-laced person you will ever find. He is very much by the rules, and he really is. But then he walks into school with a katana. And every time that he disappoints his senpais, he's like, I shall kill myself right now. And they're like, no, first of all, why do you still have that katana? He's great, he's great.
Like, Gakubu.
Oh god. It's very funny stuff. I swear there's probably more I could say about him, but again, he doesn't have the most detailed story arc in the original game. Like, I know there's one or two stories that focus on him, but even then it's through the lens of his two seniors. So he's in the unit Akatsuki, and he's the only younger member in the unit. His two other members are third-year students. One of them is Kaito, who is student council vice president. The other one is Kuro, who is president of maybe it's called the dojo or something. Yeah, I think it's it's some sort of a dojo. Whatever. So he's in some sort of self-defense, you know, does all that. Anyway, so he joined Akatsuki because he's like, these guys they're dignified and strong, and I have a sword. I don't actually know the full details here. It was actually explained in a story, which was, at least at the time that I was trying to read it, not fully translated.
Oh, I hate when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like, when something is non-translated and you don't understand the language.
Yup. I'm finally trying to learn Japanese. I mean, it's not going to be nearly enough to get me through all of this stuff. I can't even read their names right in front of me, so... but... An attempt is being made.
It's hard to learn Japanese.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's a good guy. He's part of, actually, the Aquarium Club. The only other two members of the Aquarium Club are third years, Kanata, the water god, or whatever, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then a guy named Karo, who is a flirt. So this guy is just like, no, womanizer, bad vibes. He hates one of his club members. It's really funny. His best friend is Adonis, who we're gonna get to next. Adonis Otogari. So he is half... Yeah, I think it's half Middle Eastern of some sort. I think vaguely implied to be specifically Egyptian. He's got a real... one of his more known character traits is that he's got a kind of an obsession with meat. He thinks that, meat is good. Meat is healthy. Meat makes you strong. The reason for this, apparently, there's an actual kind of half-joke backstory that goes on. And it's that he has, 3 older sisters that used to bully him around. So that's apparently his reason. He decided to eat meat until he got strong enough for them to stop bullying him. They still bully him. Like, my dude, that's how it works. When you are the youngest child. Good luck to you, buddy.
I know that feeling. I'm the younger.
I get to be a lucky middle child.
Yeah, even if I'm the younger, I'm being bullied constantly. I prefer being the younger than the middle. I don't want a small thing to take care of.
Okay, fair enough.
No, I'm hungry.
Anyways, yeah, so Adonis, he's a member of a unit called Undead. They're kind of the edgy rock group, except they don't do exclusively rock. That's kind of the sad part. And yeah, he's kind of the least edgy of the lot anyways, but he's there. There's not much more I can say about him, which is weird because he was my favorite character when I started the game. But again, a lot of his stories were mostly pretty basic, very simple. Nothing in particular that's gonna be, I guess, super important to the news story now. I guess except to say that vaguely, at the end of the day, these are Japanese people writing a brown character. Make of that what you will, but I will generally say that, yeah, it's not gonna be the world's most accurate depiction of, a vaguely Middle Eastern character. I know there's one scene which actually caused a lot of drama on Twitter, and it is in the main story. It's already been translated, so it's there. Basically, Ira, one of the newer characters, has this freak out when Adonis comes up to them, thinking that it's some sort of a bear or something approaching them, and it's like, I would have gotten it if the scene took place at night, because this guy's just really, really tall, and Ira is puny. So yeah, I mean, perhaps at night, but this happened in broad daylight, and I'm like, that's a questionable choice, and that's all we're gonna say on it.
Why do you think that that's a good idea?
Attempts are being made, I'm going to say that much. Yeah, there's a way with how foreign characters are written in a lot of these mobbages that's... I've noticed that it seems to be a very common and reoccurring thing. I don't know why, but it is. So we're gonna move on to the last one in Class 2A, Natsume Sakasaki. No, Sakasaki. Okay. I got this. He's got such a funny name. But yeah, this guy, mother was a fortune teller, and so he's taken up the fortune telling himself. He does magic, he claims, but it's all just chemistry?
I like chemistry.
Chemistry is good. Chemistry is very fun. And being able to make sparkles out of chemistry sounds like, ooh, adorable. But yeah, so he keeps kind of putting on this act like, you know, he's better than everyone. He's a bit of a tsundere, just a little. Sometimes he's just angry. Not even quite tsundere-ish. The only people that he really like looks up to are the other 5 oddballs, because all of the other 5 oddballs are in their 3rd year, so they're literally older than him, and he looks to them for, like, you know, advice and guidance and yada yadas. But anyways, that is his thing. Let's see, his storyline, I mean, the vast majority of his storyline is kind of coming to terms with everything that happened in the war. Like, he learns to not hate Tsumugi nearly as much. He learns to let go of some of the stuff that Ichi has done to them, and some of the many ways that Ichi has kind of screwed over all of his friends, essentially. It's very minimal progress, I will say. He's still dealing with a lot of it and still trying to move past it. But he gets better. If nothing else, I can say he gets more responsible. Because, like, at the start of this, he's kind of new to the whole unit system, and Switch is his first real unit, and he's the leader of the unit, not Tsumugi. But, yeah.
Oh.
So he's the 2nd year, and he's the one leading, and Sora kind of looks up to him in the same way that Natsume looks up to all of the other oddballs, so there's a lot of him trying to be a good mentor to Sora. It is interesting stuff. It is very interesting stuff. Actually, I've read quite a number of Switch stories at this point. But I don't think there's much more I can say again without, like, spoiling too much about some of the newer stories to come, because, I mean, some plot lines do kind of make their way back or they're addressed, so yeah, I'm trying not to spoil, basically. This is very hard.
What?
No, I mean, like, in general, it's just that some of the plot points that the characters go through, they are addressed again in the newer stories. So, yeah, I'm trying not to mention anything that's going to be brought up in the new stories too heavily. Just so that, you know, you can enjoy it and experience it firsthand. I know a lot of people don't like spoilers.
I because I'm curry baby, so...
Aw, that's cute, that's cute. You know, it's good to be emotional.
Yeah, maybe too much. I think I'm the only person I have ever known that cry with Love Life episode.
Have you ever watched Fairy Tail?
Fairy Tail?
Yes. Specifically, there was a movie. Something about Phoenix, Priestess, something along those lines. My sister broke down crying at the end of it. So, I promise, you're completely normal.
No. The name of that anime, I think, is too much long for me to watch it right now. It's like
no, it's okay. I'm not suggesting you watch it. Believe me, I wasted 5 years on that series. Not getting those 5 years back. Okay, moving on. So the next character is Koga Ogami. Yes, his last name is Wolf.
Wolf.
Yeah, his whole kind of character thing is that he likes to think that, you know, he's the big bad werewolf. Everyone else is like, no, you're a puppy. Anyways, he's one of the other members of Undead. He used to be Ray's biggest fan. Like, he would chase this guy around the school. He loved him so much. But after the war, yeah, after the war, Ray became kind of a different person. Like, Ray used to be like this edgy, badass teenager. Now he is old vampire grandpa. And this guy is like, shitty grandpa. How could you? Traitor. Anyways, he still sticks around in Undead. He's still a member of them. He still has great respect for Ray and all of his skills. He does respect his upperclassmen. He's just a little rough around the edges. He's also very much a dog person. He and Subaru kind of bond over the fact that they both have dogs, and their dogs are kind of friends. Undead is the least edgy group. They're great. Yeah, oh my god. They really are like that. Also, feel better. Vanilla has just confirmed that yes, I cried watching Love Live Season 1 too. Love Life is apparently a tearjerker.
Yes. Yeah, like, if you get emotional with things like friendship and move along and take separate ways and things like that, you will cry with Love Life any season.
Okay, you know what?
Nagasaki.
Oh, that's cute, that's cute. I might actually start watching Love Live now. I've actually been meaning to watch whatever the newest kind of iteration of it, because the animation on that looks so cool. And like the staff has just put so much work into that. There's lots of love behind the series. I appreciate that.
The one that is right now on air is the second season of the third season of Love Live.
Oh, okay.
The generation. And the last was Superstar, that is going to have a second season
Oh, okay.
soon. And they had like four new girls.
Oh,
And
yeah.
There's was like a drama because everyone's like that Superstars what you need for 5 gears and not 9, and now are 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can imagine that started drama.
Well, for me, it's well like there are more gears. It's not anything.
That's fair, that's fair. Love Live seems cute, though. You know what? If Love Live can make it big in the West, then so can Ensemble Stars. Everyone, play this game. And make sure to drop a complaint in the in their little in-app survey about the translation.
It's bad.
The English translation is not the best. To put it mildly, most of it is passable. Not great, it could be better, but it is passable. Some of it is word salad. So it's really, really not good. And the occasional moments, there's actually there's no occasional moment where it's actually good. It's just passable or yikes, what happened? The whole thing is done in-house by our Happy Elements, the kind of parent company behind the game, their Chinese office, so chances are they just didn't hire out to get a proper translator, so their translator is probably not a native English speaker. And yeah, that's led to some stuff. And then on top of that, there's clearly kind of just a lack of translation staff. This is a very story-heavy game. The stories are long. I think it is 130, no, it's actually 231, maybe? I think that's the number of chapters in the main story for this new game. You don't see all of them right now. Like, they're gonna be released a bit more story. No, I don't think it has to be 100. It has to be 130 something.
Yeah, that's maybe too much of a story.
Yeah, it's a lot of story. Akira is a very prolific writer, I will say that. I admire his work ethic. I think the only writer I know who writes this much is, at least in the general sphere of like anime, manga, game, and stuff, the dude who writes A Certain Magical Index, he writes a lot. I might be wrong. It might not be 230. I may have completely butchered that number. I don't think it's humanly possible to be 230. I mean, once you start adding in the event stories, then I'm sure, yeah, you're going well above and beyond that. But anyway, so it's a very story-heavy thing. And ideally, you would want a lot of hands on deck to kind of get this done, and to be able to, double-check, quality-check, proofread. The fan translators have worked extremely hard for years now to bring this stuff to us, and especially when this part of the game came out, like this whole new storyline, I cannot tell you how many translators worked on just getting the main story translated alone. Like, they all set up a Discord server, they had schedules, and they, like, I think literally every translator in the series who, was active translating has probably put some part into a translation of the, 2! Era main story. Because it's really, really so much.
Like a lot of work to do that kind of stuff, that kind of project.
Yeah, no, I mean, the fan translators behind this series are, oh my god, they're everything, actually. I mean, like, obviously, they're still human, there are errors that are made, yada yadas, but the kind of work ethic that they have is truly admirable. And yeah, for a lot of them, this whole game release is kind of extremely sad. Because, well, yeah, the translation isn't quite up to quality. It's barely even passable in certain aspects. Like, one of the characters, Mika, apparently in the beta test, he had a bit more of a British accent to him, but then they tried to fix that or something, and now the accent is extremely inconsistent. It's not quite British, it's this mix of British and what I think might be AAVE, or perhaps it was the yeehaw Southern American accent.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure which of the two they were trying to go for there. Yeah. So there's a lot to be improved on the translation, and for a game that, you know, requires you to read so much of its story to learn anything, really, it's sad. It is very sad to see that this is the quality that we have gotten. Again, that's not to say that it's completely abysmal, it's the worst thing ever or anything. In a lot of aspects, it's very passable still. And, you know, perhaps maybe for the main story especially, because the main story was so long to translate that I don't even know if fan translators ever actually finished.
Well, for what you have been saying, it's like a really, really long story, so I can imagine that no one can finish it.
I mean, certainly no one alone, but they were all working in, you know, like a giant group. They were splitting up into parts, and they had proof checking and proofreading and yada yadas on everything. And, like, I mean, everyone kind of has, you know, a favorite character, yada yadas. So that's how they were splitting things up. So, like, they would have double checkers as well, based on, like, character knowledge. People who would double check just to make sure that things are consistent within the character lore and the way that the character speaks. Again, the fan translators did a lot of work on this, and I'll get into some of that maybe later. For now, we're gonna move on to Ritsu Sakuma. Transitioning, A+ skill. But yeah, so Ritsu Sakuma, so he is the younger brother of Rei Sakuma. Now, he was held behind a year, actually, when he was really, really young in, like, elementary school, so he's not supposed to be a second year, but now he is. He's next door neighbors with Mao. They've been childhood friends since forever, and his whole kind of thing is that he's lazy and will sleep anywhere. That's sort of the vibe you initially get from him, but that's not really what it is. He's not lazy at all. In fact, the guy is quite smart. He just chooses to use his great brilliance on different things. Like, again, he was held behind a year for sleeping. He slept too much in class.
I haven't, like, sleep in class, like, never. Have you ever get a little nap in the middle of a class?
Oh, yeah, no. 9th grade geography was kind of iconic because I was the one girl who slept through, or tried to sleep through, nearly every lesson. And then there was this guy who routinely went to the bathroom and passed by my desk every single class. And he wouldn't catch the hint. I just wanted to sleep. He would keep waking me up.
I don't like to sleep in the middle of class. I was that one person who sit, like, in front of the teacher and stay quiet all the class. But I never tried to, like, wake up someone who's sleeping. It's like, no, it's your thing if you want to sleep here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't make it a habit to exactly sleep in class, but, like, you know, if you're tired and if I can pass this class with my eyes closed, then why do I need to be awake? That probably sounds unrelatable to a lot of people. I'm going to move on. It's fine. Anyways, yeah, so Ritsu, he's got a bit of a inferiority complex relating to his brother. He's always been compared to his older brother who is, you know, really gifted and blah blah blah, and everyone loves Rei. And so Ritsu's just kind of here. It's to the point that he helped Ichi undermine his older brother in the war. He gave Ichi all the information that he needed to take down Rei willingly, because he's like, my brother's just Not there. Everyone likes him more. I'm tired of all of this nonsense. You want to take him down? Here, I'll help you. He does regret it. It's been implied, but he won't say that. His brother now is extremely attached to him. Like, Rei is very, very clingy about his baby brother, and Ritsu's like, ew, get away from me.
I like that kind of relationship between brothers. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of funny. And I think a lot of it is just that Rei feels kind of guilty for having not really been there for Ritsu nearly as much, and he's kind of finally figured out how much that has affected his brother. And Ritsu doesn't really want to admit to the fact that he really likes having his brother there because he feels kind of guilty for having low-key sold him out, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. Generally, the guy's a lot deeper than he appears, but most of his stories have focused on his relationship with Mao because they're, childhood friends, and sort of the only other vague ship that's kind of got a lot of hints in canon. Like, Ritsu will constantly talk to Mao about how he would marry him.
oh.
It's kind of funny. Mao, yeah, so they're next door
kind
neighbors.
of interaction in love life.
Really?
I want this kind of interaction in love life. They have done one ship canon in the manga.
No, in the
Not even
manga!
the game.
Not the game,
Just
not
in
the anime.
manga.
That's sad. That is sad. But yeah, I guess this is a good point to segue into Mao. So Mao's whole thing is that he's nigh perfect. Like, he's the good, responsible guy. Not overly serious. He can relax at times, but he helps out with the student council. He helps out, he's a part of the basketball club. He occasionally helps, the gaming club, or this club, or that club. He does a lot of work around. He's, the good kid. He's helpful. He's really good at dancing. For a guy who never really spent much time singing, he's pretty good at that as well. So he's got this kind of image of, someone who's just really kind of gifted or talented. But thing is that he's not gifted or talented. And he knows this because he's literally in a unit with Subaru, who is talented and genuinely gifted. And Mao's just like struggling to keep up this whole persona of being, good, being kind of perfect, keep up with the reputation that Trickstar has, especially when they are kind of considered the school heroes and all of that. So yeah, it's just him trying to pull this whole balancing act of living up to expectations. It is a very relatable storyline, but it doesn't always get the most focus. One of my favorite chapters, or one of my favorite stories actually in the original game, was that there was a sports festival event. Now, this particular event story, it was an event story, focuses on Trickstar and Ryoseitai, because of their connection with the basketball club. So Subaru and Mao are both a part of the basketball club with Chiaki and Midori, who are Ryoseitai members. Now, Chiaki and Kaneda had decided that, we're going to be graduating next year and whatnot. We want our first years to be prepared to do performances without us. So they enlist the help of Trickstar, specifically Mao and Subaru, to help train the first years of Ryoseitai. Subaru doesn't even really try. Like, Subaru just does everything kind of the way that Chiaki would do it, being overly forceful and overly happy and being like, no, do that again, no, do that again, no, you can do better than that, now do that again, until eventually Midori is the one who breaks down on
this song and then end the stream because Mina have died. Oh,
hello?
So bad now.
Can I be heard in the void?
Hmm?
Oh, okay, I'm not still in the void. Okay, this is good. God, I love internet at this hour of the day. It's extremely unstable. I don't know, what is everyone in the neighborhood using the Wi-Fi? It's very weird. Hello, thank you for the follow, Queen Homu. I hope you're really into idols? Great, we've just gotten to use Zuru now, basically, so this is going to be fun. Yes, hello, we are back. I am so sorry again for all of the cutting. Yeah, I will definitely check Discord. Thank you so much. Probably as soon as I'm off stream, though. In any case. So yes, Yuzuru Fushimi. So he is Tori's butler. He's a second-year student, and we do know that before he gets to Yumenosaki, he was a bit different, let's put it that way. I mean, now, you know, he's the image of the perfect butler. He's calm, he's collected. No, he doesn't want to murder his senpais, of course not. He wants to murder his senpais. He's entirely capable of murdering his senpais. That's the fun part.
With the training, of course.
Wait, what?
With the training he has?
Yeah. Again, he kind of went to military camp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that he really has learned how to murder. It's really funny. I think most of his storyline is kind of learning to let Tori grow up. Because, yeah, you know, it's his job kind of to protect the kid and yada yadas. But at some point, well, Tori has to be Tori without Yuzuru. So a lot of his storyline is trying to learning to let go a little. The rest of it is just kind of comedy. He's just there with his senpais being like, you know, if you stop talking right now, it would be much better. He's funny. He's genuinely funny.
There to protect Tori.
Pretty much. He does get some of his own character development, but most of it is through his backstory and revealing that, you know, he kind of was in child military camp, and that, yeah, his best friend was Ibra, the guy who now helps run Cosmic Productions. So yeah, they're childhood friends of sorts, but they're the kind of friends that they're like just always making jabs at each other in ways that are confusing. It's like, are you friends? Are you not friends? Do you hate each other? That's kind of the vibe you get from them, except they very much are still friends. Like, at least in my mind, once you read enough about them, there's no mistaking the fact that they do care about each other. They just have a kind of interesting way of showing it, you know?
And your headcanon. They are best friends.
We're not gonna get into my headcanons about them today. Maybe another day. Maybe at some point I will do a really long video breaking down the many possible ships in this series.
You should? Okay, something like that. I'm hungry.
Oh my god, no. Twitch is buffering and throwing ads at everyone. Also, ooh, thank you. I will definitely check that out then as soon as I can. I have an idea what the message probably is, but I'm not gonna react to it on stream. I sound crazy enough doing all of this. Okay, so, Arashi Narukami, now. I don't know how many disclaimers I could possibly put out there that would save me from potential backlash. The English version of the game, you know what, actually I don't need to put out a disclaimer. The English version of the game has made the explicit choice to save me all the trouble, and Arashi uses she, her pronouns in English.
Mm-hmm.
Arashi is essentially confirmed trans. This is really cool. And I mean, considering that this is coming from the actual parent company behind Ensemble Stars, we can consider this about as canon as it's going to get. There's just Twitter likes to cause a lot of drama surrounding it. In particular, 3 years ago now, actually, yeah, it was 2019. There was a thing happening on the wiki because the big moderator of the wiki they no longer participated in the game in any form. They weren't a part of the community. They didn't really read the stories, but they were very against changing Arashi's official pronouns on the wiki to anything other than he, him. And so fans tried to kind of start a mini petition on Twitter and a bunch of other things like that to try and raise awareness about this and get this person to just, you know, change it. But then this caused a bit of a problem because some fans pointed out that, you know, well, gender in Japan isn't necessarily viewed the same way that it's viewed in the West. That by Western views, yes, we might be inclined to say that Arashi uses she, her pronouns, but in Japanese, it's supposedly more complex than that. I don't know Japanese. I'm not going to speak for Japanese culture. I'm mostly just listing off things that I have seen on Twitter. This mostly caused a fight because some people insisted on using they, them pronouns for Arashi instead, or mixing between they, them, and she, her. And yeah, Twitter didn't. Most of Twitter didn't take kindly to that. They're like, well, you're transphobic if you don't just use she/her pronouns. And it's like, is that even valid if she/her pronouns technically don't exist across every language? Like, there are languages other than Japanese where pronouns aren't so explicit either. What do you do in those cases? Point is, these people really only wanted to argue about the English fandom because America is all that matters in the world. I mean, the company behind the game thinks so as well, so they had this weird assumption that this game was going to be so popular that they could put up ads in Times Square, New York. And I'm like, you underestimate. Like, this game is still niche in the West. Like, there's a lot of English-speaking fans. Not all of us are necessarily native English speakers. Not all of us necessarily live in the United States of America, so that was a choice. That was a choice. Anyways, Arashi, aside from that, has an entire character arc, which a lot of people end up kind of putting down to just this little pronoun argument. It is much more fascinating than that, but for the record, the official company has made their stance on the pronouns, and it is she/her. Arashi is apparently trans, or if not trans, at least feels more comfortable with those pronouns. I'm trying to state this in like the vaguest way possible in hopes that, you know, I'm not like going to offend anyone if they have a different headcanon or view on it. It's not that deep at the end of the day. It's like, it's very cool though. I mean, I think it's kind of phenomenal that they did make a stance on this, that they gave Arashi pronouns that were not just he, him. Because a lot of Arashi's storyline really has been adding up to somewhere in this direction, and it is fascinating. I'm way too gay for all these pretty boys. You know what? That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
I'm here
indeed.
for this. I'm here for the sparkle and for the jokes mostly, but also because, yeah, they're pretty. And then there's a lot of other friends who are just like, in it for the drama. This game is so dramatic. You could put girls in their exact position and somehow it wouldn't be... You know what, that's actually the thing. Actually, we're gonna have a little tangent right here. So Ensemble Girls, the original game, had nearly beat for beat the same plot, at least the main story plot and this general idea that there was a revolution and there was a war and it failed the year before. Like they had all of those same plot beats. A lot of the characters in Ensemble Stars are based very heavily in their Ensemble Girls counterparts, but for some reason, largely because of the art style according to fans, but also in my honest opinion because for some reason there's this view on girl games. Yeah, there's this view on like girls games where I don't know, they can't be overly dark, they can't get overly pessimistic. If you get too, I don't know, controversial, maybe that's a bad word. That's a bad word for this. It's not that it's even controversial. It's just that, yeah, if you go too far with this stuff, it's not pure enough. Yeah, there's kind of this need for purity amongst like the franchises that have female idols or something. And not all of them follow it, and all of them follow it to varying degrees, but this one really broke the mold maybe a little too early. So it wasn't considered good enough when they had girls, but the second they placed guys in there, it was like, bunny be flying! This Arashi thing reminds me of Black Butler fandom meltdown on Tumblr when the creator said that Grell is 100% a man. Oh boy. I mean, I would say it's almost in the exact opposite direction now, but yeah, a lot of it is definitely very, very similar. Mina, honey, remember to breathe when you get excited. I'm sorry, I promise, I am breathing, and you know what? I will now take another hydrate moment of my chalky milk. We need more messy girl idols. Yes, we really do need more messy girl idols. And we're getting there, you know, the progress is slow, but we are getting there. There's this, it's a series called Revue Starlight? Starlight, what was that?
I am very good with that franchise.
Oh, yes, yay.
I really like Revue Starlight.
I have only watched the
game because the game it's not like, well, the franchise in itself is not like idol or at all, but the game has a really powerful story, and the gameplay is very, very funny. It's more interactive than it's more interactive than the most of gacha games or raid games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard like lots about that.
If I have to say where to start with that franchise is or the game or the manga. The anime is not the best thing of the franchise.
Oh, interesting.
At least for me. I like the manga. The manga is very good. The expressions, the facial expression of the manga is one of the best things I have ever read.
Ooh, okay.
And the stage plays, they do like theater, the musicals of the.
Ooh, oh yeah.
Like the musicals are really, really good. I normally compare it to the Beetlejuice and the original Heather's musical. It's really good. Those girls are amazing. Please, if you have time, play the game or.
Yeah, I was I was one of those lame people who actually did start with the anime, and I enjoyed the anime. There's another anime that kind of has a similar thing going on. Like, from what I understand, it explores this kind of a very niche section of Japanese theater, which is how do I spell this? I've completely forgotten. It's like the theater where everything is played by female actors, even the males.
Shoujo Kageki?
Yeah, I watched that. Yes, I watched that anime. There we go.
It's really good. It's more not so magical like Revue Starlight. It's more like really real theater.
Okay, yeah, oriented towards reality. Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's really dark at some points. Especially, I think was character episode 3 and 6, like really dark stuff.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Episode 3 was so much.
With this sex idol girl.
Yeah.
Stuff. I need a second season of Kageki.
It's a fun, interesting series. I did watch a bit of Revue Starlight, the anime. I tried the game, but I think I tried it initially. Did I try it in English? No, I think I did actually try it in English. The problem was that for some reason I never kept it up. I don't know, I must have been in the middle of school or something, so I was just like, I'll come back to this later, and then I never came back to it. So yes, maybe motivation to try it again. Anyways, yeah, so Arashi, a lot of Arashi's storyline is her role in Knights is actually like a kind of a really big thing. So all of the Knights members kind of have a I don't know. Yeah, they used to be called chess, right? So they had kind of a chess piece associated with them. Arashi was kind of the queen was her symbol. And so that plays like a large role in things, that Arashi is sort of the one who feels like it's her job to hold the unit together. When Leo leaves and Izumi takes over, Arashi is just there to, try and take care of their new first year member, Tsukasa. And then when Izumi starts spiraling out of control, Arashi is just there trying to hold down the fort. There's a lot of that. There's also a lot, there is a lot explored in the original game about Arashi's kind of gender, and specifically how it's displayed. Like, one of the other characters, it's Tetra, I believe, had, Tetra's a first year, doesn't really know Arashi too well, and so he just kind of looks at Arashi, who's, like, on the track team and doing, all of this stuff, and Tetra's like, this is manly stuff. And Arashi's just kind of there, like, No, this is not meant to be, like, explicitly manly or not manly, and there's a lot of, like, exploration of that as well. That was a rather interesting story, actually. If I will probably dig up the link to that, because that's definitely one of the stories that I think a lot of people should try and read, but there's another one, which is the graduation story, because that one focuses more on Arashi's personal insecurities. The war really, really messed with her. So, yeah, it comes around time, like, Leo and Izumi are going to, like, graduate, yada yada, they're moving out from the school, someone has to take over nights, and Arashi kind of wants it to be her, but kind of doesn't. There's a lot of, complicated feelings happening there, basically. It is interesting. There's so much. I actually haven't even read half of the stories that have Arashi. It's sad. I love my queen.
Interesting. Backstory of a character. I really like that they did like the trans part, because it's not something you usually see on a idols game.
Yeah. It really isn't, and again, a lot of us weren't expecting that it would be confirmed or not confirmed. I mean, first of all, we never thought that an English game was ever really going to come, so there wasn't really going to be an answer. And you know what, even if there wasn't an answer, it was still kind of iconic enough that there was all of this exploration at all about gender identity and, performance. The way in which people, like, just present their genders. It's a lot of stuff. Very cool. Yeah, I guess the one other thing that a lot of people kind of like to point out about Arashi, like, everyone likes to point out every which way in which she's more girly. So, like, Arashi likes makeup and keeps going on about how she likes people who are cute. And I'm like, this is a school in which you guys are entertainers. Liking makeup isn't the most out of the ordinary, and it doesn't necessarily define you as any sort of human being. But nah, Arashi's love of makeup is adorable. Arashi's got good taste. Good taste, let me just say. But yeah, I mean, people unfortunately use that to throw fits about, like, Arashi not getting, like, girly enough clothes in character cards and things like that. And I'm like, again, gender is entirely a performance. It is how you view yourself and how you present yourself, and it's kind of just a lie. You don't have to be the girliest person ever to say that I use she, her pronouns.
That's true.
And it's like sometimes the fandom undermines the point that the game is trying to make. But make no mistake, Arashi has great sense of style. Some of the best. Never a bad card. Never, literally. Anyways, then we get to Mika, who is actually one of Arashi's best friends. Now, Mika's shtick is that he's an orphan from somewhere out in, like, rural Japan. Speaks with a Kansai accent, is really, really nervous, doesn't really like talking to people. Mika is the...
Kansai accent. It's funny.
Yeah, it's really cute. I like it. I find the way that they tried to translate it in English was a bit botched.
I remember I saw someone trying to translate into Spanish, and it was horrible. No, don't try that kind of stuff again.
Ugh, yeah. Yikes, that's sad. Anyways, Mika, he's the only other member of Valkyrie, a member of the sewing club as well. Really likes sweets. I think one of the larger things is, yeah, his kind of backstory as an orphan. He was a part of this orphanage. Basically, Shu, the leader of Valkyrie, kind of has taken Mika in now. Like, they live at Shu's place, and Shu pays for everything because Shu comes from a really rich family that has ties all the way in France. Shu's family is a riot. Anyway, so there's so much I could say about Mika. Mika has, like, no self-worth. None. Yeah, that's a good place to start. And part of this is made worse by Shu. Because, again, so Shu's whole thing is that he views the world as a stage and all the people are his dolls. And Mika, the only other member of Valkyrie, is quite literally, the doll. He dances to the tune that Shu wants. And that's how that goes. And so a lot of his story is about kind of growing up, learning to value himself, and learning to be human, mostly. Except this is also contrasted with Nazuna's story, because you see in the war, during the war timeline, this is really how I'm explaining it, god. Anyways, yeah, so during the timeline with the Great War of Yumenosaki, Valkyrie used to be a 3-member unit. Mika was their newest member, but they used to, before that, have Shu and Nazuna. Because Rabbids didn't exist. Rabbids is made up of Nazuna and a bunch of first years. But yeah, Nazuna used to be Shu's favorite doll, because Nazuna sings really pretty. Or at least Nazuna used to sing really pretty. Then puberty hit, and Shu was like, no, no, no. This is unacceptable. Your voice has changed. I do not like this. We will be lip-syncing every performance. And so Nazuna was no longer allowed to sing.
Aww.
Nazuna became literally a silent puppet for, I don't know, almost a year or something. Apparently that happened. It completely ruined the guy. But Mika was kind of new to all of this, and he came in when the system was already established. So he was just used to this hierarchy where, you know, Shu is their master, literally, and they are his dolls. And Nazuna is the favorite doll, sure. Mika was also never really allowed to sing, also was just stuck lip-singing as well, but had to practice the dance moves exactly the way Shu wanted, yada yadas. Mika, in the meantime, though, was practicing singing. Like, behind Shu and Nazuna's back, he would practice to sing, because he wanted to one day prove to Shu that he could do this. You know, he could be the perfect doll. And Nazuna, in the meantime, is just like, what the hell am I doing here? Our underclassman is trying harder than I am, and I'm not even speaking up. I don't talk anymore. So when Valkyrie fell in, he's interesting. A mess of a human being. But yeah, when Valkyrie eventually fell apart, Nazuna left. Like, after Ichi defeated them with Fine, Nazuna just left the group and said, you know what, I'm done. I don't need to stay here, I can be free, I can be a human. This is like Pinocchio-esque, man. And Shu was instead breaking down, locking himself up in his house, talking to a literal doll. Like an actual doll, would not leave his room. And Mika was angry, because he's like, why would, Nazuna-senpai betray their master? Who does that? So, Nazuna and Mika are on rough terms. Oh yes, there's so much happening. But yeah, so Mika's just kind of in between a lot of things. There's also this completely random fact that isn't a part of Ensemble Stars necessarily, but it's a part of Ensemble Girls. Mika does have a sister. She used to be Anzu's best friend, implied in this other game. It's completely random, but in a light novel, he meets her again and they are like buddies. It's fun stuff. Anyway, I guess the important thing here is that, yeah, by the time that the new story comes around, Mika is trying to kind of grow into himself. Shu has moved to, like, France. He's still doing idol work over there, and Mika has to, until then, do idol work without Shu, which means that he has to find a different way to do their usual kind of idol performances. Like, the Shu has a very set and rigid way on how they perform, and a part of it is no fan service. Like, that seems like an extremely weird rule to have as an idol, but Shu never bought into the whole fan service stuff. He's like, no, people will like us on account of our art, on the things that we create, the performances that we give. We are not going to pander to them. Which also meant that he never participated in any of the, any of the Dream Live competitions. After the first one where he lost, he was like, no, this is a disgrace. You have to vote, and you have to appeal to the audience? Never. Hello, Ninja Kai. Lovely to have you here. Yes, we are going very, very deep into the lore of this beautiful, wonderful, extremely insane idol game. I have been in the trenches of this for 5 years now. I think we're going on the 7th year anniversary of the series. This is good stuff. Brings me joy. Anyways, yes, so that's kind of a lot of Mika's storyline. He's trying to adjust to life without Shu, and he's also trying to kind of learn to value himself outside of his relationship with Shu and their kind of master-servant dynamic thing. So, yeah, Shu in the meantime is trying to be nicer. Like, no, genuinely, he eventually comes to realize that, you know what, I'm too mean to this guy. I scold him, I never compliment him, I tell him that he's always doing things wrong, but never when he's doing things right. I should be nicer to him. And the funniest thing is Mika's reaction to this is abject horror. So Mika's just there kind of like, hey there, Ohi-san, you okay? No, it's Oshi-san, I think.
Are you fine?
And Shu is like, yes, I'm fine. We're just doing things a different way. And Mika's like, I like the old way. Please insult me. I'm gonna step to the side and not get run over. I'm sorry. I really love this game. I think my love for this game is rivaled only by my love of chocolate. Which I think all I've done by saying that is throw a lot of confusion into the chat. But this is all okay. Anyways, we're moving on to the third years. Finally, the third years. Trauma. Yeah, that's the introduction to this section. Trauma. Is there a single third year here without any trauma? No, there isn't actually. Okay. Yeah, varying degrees of trauma. So we'll start with Mr. Student Council President himself, Ishii Tenchuin. He's very pretty. Yes, you need to know this. He's extremely pretty. He's also very, very sick. There's some sort of genetic disorder in his family. It tends to kill him off kind of early. He's expected to not live a very long life. And one of the things that got him through this whole weird sickness thing was watching idols in his hospital, it's implied. I don't even know if it's ever explicitly stated, but he really, really just loves idols. He loves the way that they can make people happy, the way that they made him happy. And so he wants to see the idol success be successful. I mean, the idol industry be successful again. He wants, like, everything to be booming and sparkling and yada yadas. Hilariously, Subaru would be exactly his ideal kind of idol, and this makes for great friendship moments between the two of them. They're hilarious together. But anyways, yeah, I mean, of course he went about that the wrong way. He tried to start some sort of... It wasn't even a revolution, man. He started war. And then lost a revolution. And the funny part is that he didn't even lose the revolution because Fine was less skilled than Trickstar. They're objectively more skilled. He lost because he got too sick to perform any longer. They would have to perform like another performance as a tiebreaker or else forfeit. And he was like, I cannot. So they forfeited.
If I go to the tiebreaker, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. He was probably put in the hospital right after that performance. So yeah, a lot of his stuff has to do with his whole sickness. It all in some way ties back to that. Because of that, he's not exactly the most well-socialized. I mean, like, he's this high-class elite person, comes from a rich family. You know, he knows the social order of things, but he doesn't know how to hang with people his own age. There's this one point where he goes to an arcade, I think, and he couldn't get his head around the arcade stuff. But yeah, and he doesn't trust people. Growing up in the kind of way that he did and being as sickly as he is, everyone's kind of always looking to just take advantage of him in some way or another, so he just doesn't trust people. He doesn't really view friendships in the same light that other people view friendships either, so everyone who thinks he's a friend, he's just kind of like, are we friends? He doesn't understand that they could view him as a friend, especially because he thinks that he knows that he's done a lot of not good things. So yeah, he's messed up. Trauma! Then there's good old Kaito Hasumi. So his thing is that he comes from a very traditional family. They run a temple. He's childhood friends with Ichi because his family for years has been doing Ichi's family's funerals. morbid friendship. They made this childhood promise to each other where whenever Ichi dies, Kaito promised him that he would be the one to do the funeral rites. It's sweet in an extremely odd way.
It's strange.
But yeah, aside from that, Kaito was also kind of childhood friends with Rei. Like, he met Rei Sakuma when he was really, really young, or something like that. And they just kind of got to being friends. Like, Rei was wiser than his years. He's kind of gifted, he's really smart, yada yadas. So he just kind of was there, and like he used to be this sort of guiding, mentorish figure to young Kaito, but then they faded apart, they grew apart, Kaito got back in with Ichi, they get to Yumenosaki Academy. Kaito and Ichi go through their first year, get into their second year, Kaito becomes vice president, yada yadas. And when Ichi wants to reform the school, Kaito's first idea is, let's ask Rei first, and Ichi's like, he's never gonna go with this. And Kaito's like, no, I want to try. That maybe it will go well. Maybe all will be fine. And he tries, and Rei is still just, like, not really having it. That, no, this isn't the way to go about things. So instead, Kaito plots behind his former friend's back with his other friend. Great stuff. Great stuff. He did a lot of the stuff that led to the downfall of Ryuseitai specifically, but again, I haven't read that story in full, so I don't know all of it. It's quite disastrous. He's the reason, actually, to get back to Madara, he's the reason Madara gets to have his own unit. Long story short, by the end of everything that happened with both Ryuseitai and then with Knights, Madara was angry. He really had it out for the student council because he's best friends with Leo, and he used to be friends with Kanata until the whole war happened. So Kaito, in some way to appease Madara, told him that, yeah, listen, here's an idea. You will be the only person allowed to have a solo unit. You can be a solo artist, perform on your own. You know, you don't have to go by the rules that we've set up for everyone else. Now, this is actually a twofold thing, because the point is that it's actually Kaito's way of keeping Madara separated from other people. Because basically he assumes that if Madara gains any support, Madara is kind of like, in Kaito's view, Rei 2.0. You know, he's got a bit of a hero complex, he likes to help people, except he's got a bit of a bad boy streak as well. His parents are Yakuza. He's got connections in some dark places, and he's willing to do some stuff to kind of get things to go his way. So yeah, so Kaito instead decided the best thing to do would be to isolate him. Keep him away from other people so he can't turn people against Ichi. And Madara accepted this because he considers it almost punishment. Now, if you know anything about Super Sentai, there's a thing with the colors. The colors represent kind of character tropes of sorts. So red is always the leader, blue is kind of like the second in command, yada yadas. Madara's color was purple. Purple is known to be the color of traitors. This is how he viewed himself. I mean, the guy goes and puts himself out there as some sort of a hero, but he knows it's also a lie. He's no hero. Again, his parents are the Yakuza. He's willing to really get his hands down and dirty. He will kill if he has to do that at some point. He's said so a couple of times. There's another story where it's implied he now does some vigilante work which may or may not involve killing. And this is in the new story, not in the old story. The killing comes up more in the new story. But, yeah. So, yeah, basically he thinks that he's a traitor to the name of hero, to this whole title. He's a lie. It's not that he himself, like, is a traitor. At no point does he actually betray any of his friends or anything like that. He just views himself this way. Yeah. Fun stuff. I maybe enjoy this a little too much. Okay. Anyway, so, Kaito's arc and plotline in general doesn't focus so much on all of the war stuff as you would think it does. It focuses more on his unit, Akatsuki, so he runs the unit Akatsuki. Their whole shtick is kind of blending traditional with more modern sounds, like traditional Japanese instruments with kind of techno and rock-esque vibes sometimes.
Mhm.
It's very cool. It is a jam. Love them. Anyway, so in a lot of ways, it's him trying to, because this is a horrid way to kind of explain it, probably. But like, so Kaito and Kuro, they're both the two members of Akatsuki, or the older two members of Akatsuki, and then they took in Soma. And Soma wasn't initially meant to join. These two kind of joined up together because they're like, shit, now we need a unit. They didn't initially want Soma as a part of their unit, but the guy would not let up until he joined. And so they're like, okay, fine, you can join. Like, they have a very strict criteria on how you can join or something like that. Like, they have a bunch of tests that they run you through, and Soma actually passed them. It's really funny though. But yeah, so it's him trying to kind of be a bit better for, you know, for Soma, trying to, you know, kind of make amends with his past, low-key. That's a lot of his arc. There is scattered stuff again about the whole... also, yeah, there's this thing. Dude is a part-time manga artist.
Dream.
Yeah, like, he's such a nerd. He draws, actually, specifically, shoujo manga. Which, I'm like, yes, please. Draw shoujo manga? There's an entire event or something. Actually, it was a scout story that was about his shoujo manga hobby. It's really nice, actually. I like that one. I won't say much else about it, but yeah, so he does that on the side. A lot of these stories are very much just people trying to come to terms with themselves. You know what? Pretty much every story in some way or another is just people trying to be happy being themselves. And that's like part of the fun about this game. Like, at the end of the day, it's all this crazy stuff about wars, and there's implied killing, and mental health that is kind of failing you, and all of that. But like, it's still just a happy, hopeful story about just finding yourself in the middle of a very, very chaotic environment. Which, I mean, what else is life?
I like that kind of story too. That says you just have to be yourself. It's like really, really heartwarming, that kind of story.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And then we get to the news story, which is a lot more on the idle politics side of things. Like, some of that exists here, but not nearly as much as it does in the news story. So it's like, you want to be yourself, yes, but you want to also protect your image, and, you know, you don't want to be getting into scandal. You want to further your, you know, your group, and yada yadas for your friends. So there's a lot more kind of, yeah, industry politics in the news story. It's very interesting. Anyways, moving on from Kaito, we have, Kato Hakase. I keep saying his name wrong, I think. No, I mean, not his last name, his first name. I can't... Karu? Yeah, I think that one is it. I'm just very bad at pronouncing things. I am so sorry for offending every fan out there. Okay, so his shtick is that, I mean, he starts off a kind of a one-note womanizer. And then he kind of develops from there. You find out that he's got a much deeper backstory than all of that, obviously. But yeah, so the womanizer thing is important because it is the one thing that is kind of called back to in the news story, because he drops his kind of womanizing ways. Because it would be kind of scandalous if he really goes around with girls in any capacity. And in fact, like, he spends an entire year kind of flirting with your character, your player character, Anzu. And then by the time you get to the news story, he's just like, oh my god, now she's our freaking manager. So the guy's too embarrassed sometimes to show his face in front of her. Funny stuff.
That's
in any case.
cute.
Yeah, he's adorable, actually. He's one of the members of Undead, so the edgy group. Not all that edgy, they just dress in dark colors, and they are very, very pretty. That's putting it mildly, actually. Anyways, yeah. So his backstory, his mother died when he was young. He's got a lot of older siblings, so he's not really expected to be the one that takes over the family business. And on one hand, he's extremely thankful for that. But on the other hand, he's kind of like, you know, my siblings shielded me from any possible responsibility. and I'll never know how to pay them back for this. Some of this stuff gets deep. He's part of the, aquarium club? Along with Kanata?
Kaoru?
Yes.
It says Biblion for books lovers.
Okay, well, he used to be a part of the aquarium club in school. I assume that the company doesn't have an aquarium club. But yeah, so yeah, he used to be part of the aquarium club. They were low-key always doing the most illegal things, like shipping in giant fish tanks and trying to put the weirdest of fish in there. Because Kanata was like, fishy swim, and Karo was like, yeah, sure, let's just stick a jellyfish. Why not? And someone's just here like, the student council's gonna come after us. Those guys were chaotic, I loved them. They didn't really get a lot of time to shine, like, together. A lot of the club stuff was really underutilized, I think with the exception of basketball club, maybe, and theater club. And the tea club. The tea club got, like, 1 or 2 whole stories to themselves. That was kind of cool. The sewing club exists the sewing club only has 2 members now, and it's Shu and Mika. Tsumugi's technically still a part of the club, it's just that every time that he walks in there, for at least a couple of months straight, Shu would just start throwing things at him, needles, spools of thread. It became disastrous, so he stopped going for a while. And then eventually he did go back, and Shu was just like, fine, but you make your own costumes. Anyways, yeah, so Karo. The only thing that really gets a call back is the fact that, yeah, he used to be a flirt. That's it. That's kind of the only thing that I think makes actually, one of the... I think it's going to be the second event is going to have some focus on him specifically. I won't say anything else aside from the fact that that has one of my favorite songs since the new game started. Because it's a shuffle event, so they have characters from different units all together. And they're all singing the song, and I'm just like, it is so, so cute! I love it! If you're not, like, absolutely dead tired by the time I'm done with this, because we're already approaching 3 hours here, but yeah, if you're not absolutely dead tired by that time, I might run through the music and try to see, what's your vibe? The music is also very good.
I need to eat something, because I haven't...
wanna take a break?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to get something to eat.
Alright, sounds good. I'm also gonna switch to the be right back screen and grab some food, probably. Remember everyone, food is good. Yeah, oh my god, Vanilla, you are a real trooper. You're pulling out somehow. Please do sleep. Please do. Like, I definitely appreciate you being here and I hope you're having fun. I can explain all of this to you literally any day you want. But yeah, so go to bed. Thank you for being here though. Going to switch to the be right back screen and grab some food in the meantime. Hello? Okay, I'm sorry, I think... Okay, yeah, Discord just dropped for a sec.
Aww.
It's okay, it's okay. We're all good, we are back. Welcome back, I hope you ate well. Eating is very, very important. It's like, seriously. Okay, so we finished Karo. Moving along. Okay, we have Izumi Senna. Objectively the prettiest character in the game. The guy is literally a model. I mean, you can't do better. I mean, you could do better, I guess, if you're not into his personality. But yeah, his personality, that's the thing. He's a bit prissy. That's like the nicest way to describe him, I guess. And also, he's just got issues, but who doesn't have issues? Right, so... so yeah, he started modeling when he was young because he saw a Makoto model, and he's like, I want to do that. I want to meet that guy. So he started modeling really, really young. And then he stuck it out in the business. Found that he really, really liked doing this. Had had some sort of calling for it. Stuck it out. Then he comes to Yumenosaki, decides to become an idol for some reason. You know what? I don't think it's ever really explained why he wanted to go from modeling into idol as well. Because, like, he's not going to drop the modeling. He intends to do both.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's just really, really obsessed with Makoto. Like, he flat out, yeah, he tries to kidnap him. Other times he just does... Oh, yeah, he tries to kidnap him. This happens pretty early in the main story, actually. I mean, not early. It's towards the end, isn't it? Of the main story of the original story. Yeah, it happens over there. He actually ties Makoto up in one of the classrooms, and he's like, "It's okay, you're mine now." And Makoto's like, "That's not okay."
What? No.
It's so funny because he later goes on in the story to say that no, kidnapping is bad, it's wrong. And everyone just stares. In any case, yeah, so he's got issues. So yeah, he was a part of Chess, which later became Knights. Now, when Chess had their big fall from grace, when, you know, they were voted out of the Dream Live, basically, he freaked out. He freaked out specifically at Leo. Leo was the leader of Chess, or Knights, at the time. And Izumi started going to him and he's like, "Listen, Leo, you need to write better songs." Because Leo was their songwriter. He wrote all of their songs, did all of their music. He's like a musical genius. Mm-hmm. He's also like, hashtag ADHD, man. I mean, he's probably not ADHD. This is, again, just more armchair psychology, but every person I've ever met with ADHD says Leo is the most relatable character ever. And they're not wrong. They're really not wrong. It's very relatable. But anyway, so Leo couldn't take the pressure of it, that he needed to write songs and he needed to write the songs to be perfect and blah blah blah. So he couldn't handle the whole thing. The guy broke down and started locking himself in the house. Izumi would go to his house and like try to get him to come back out again. And then one day, Leo stopped even doing that. He left his house for unknown reasons and just disappeared. And Izumi is just kind of left behind in the dust. He's a third year, and then he's got 2 other second years with him at the time, and so he's just like, okay, fine, we have to pick up the pieces. We are named Knights, we're gonna pick ourselves back up. So he takes over leading Knights. Then Tsukasa joins them, and Tsukasa joins in as, like, you know, this bright-eyed little newbie who's like, this is a good, respectable unit, we're going to do so well. And then he finds out his senpai kidnapped a guy. He's like, okay, that was one thing. And then there's another, like, I mean, immediately after that, one of the first events was an event where Makoto and Izumi try to get back on semi-decent terms again. It doesn't really go well. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, Knight's opinion just keeps dropping. Tsukasa eventually tries to argue with Izumi that, you know what, you're not fit to run this. Izumi has a complete breakdown at this point. He stops running Knights. Arashi picks it up instead and is like, okay, I'm gonna keep this whole unit together. Arashi was queen. Ritsu, in the meantime, is just like, this is just going to hell. Locks himself away in the tea club. Because the tea club is apparently where Ritsu goes when, like, he's too stressed with everything else. But yeah. Then eventually Leo comes back. Now, he comes back around summer. And he comes back with Madara, and it's said that Madara had found him overseas or something and brought Leo back or something, like, I don't know, took him around traveling for a bit and then brought him back. So Leo comes back, but he's not exactly the same entirely, or at least, like, I mean, Tsukasa had higher expectations of him, Izumi had higher expectations of him, like everyone did, and he comes back and he's just like, woo-woo, la-la land kind of thing. Clearly some sort of trauma response or something. Armchair psychology moment. But, yeah. So, Izumi, a lot of his storyline, actually, from then on, is, first of all, trying to get on better terms with Makoto, and then secondly, trying to fix whatever this messed up relationship he has with, with Leo? Because it's, like, weirdly codependent. Like, he needs Leo to be there in order to write their songs, and Leo kind of needs him, and they're both just really, really toxic when they hang around each other, so extremely weirdly codependent.
Yes. Toxic
Yes.
relationships.
Pretty much. So yeah, a lot of it is just him kind of getting out of that. He's also the captain of the tennis team. And I think the only relevant member on the tennis team is Tori. Tori hates this guy. He's like, this guy is mean. And that's the thing. Yes. Izumi, not Leo, sorry, Izumi. Izumi is captain of the tennis team. Izumi is very, very mean. He's like really not nice to the younger students because he thinks that, you know what, they may as well face the harsh realities of life right now. People aren't going to be nice to you. And it's just like, it's so extra. So extra. I know one of his last scenes in like the big graduation event is that all of his tennis kohais are giving him like goodbye gifts because he ends up going to Italy. Which is, yes, an important point here. Long story short, he gets into a bit of a scandal in the modeling world in Japan, so he decides instead that he's going to pick up modeling over in Italy. But yeah, so they give him a bunch of these gifts, and the guy starts breaking down crying, and he's just like, you know, this doesn't mean I like you. Yeah, major tsundere moment. It's beautiful. I mean, at the same time, this is the closest the guy's ever gotten to being, like, truly emotional. He and Makoto do eventually get on decent terms. The rest of Makoto's arc is actually more tied to Leo than it is to Izumi, because there's a whole kind of tug-of-war there going, where Makoto was, I mean, as much as Izumi creeps him out, he was convinced that he was the most important person in Izumi's life. And then Leo came back in the picture, and Leo's like, you mean nothing to him. You were a replacement until I got back here. And Makoto's like, the hell?
Who are you?
It's so much. Anyway, so that's it for Izumi. Yeah, he, in the main story of the new game, he's going to come back from Italy, and I'm pretty sure they'll explain that whole thing. So we're gonna move on to Chiaki Morisawa. Now, Chiaki's a fun one, because in the war timeline, he was a completely different character, almost. He was kind of cowardly and shy, and he had these big glasses, and he was constantly picked on by all of his senpais in Ryuseitai. And, yeah, he was just kind of a mess. But he tried his best. He always wanted to be a hero. He just thought that, you know, he wasn't really cut out to be the hero. He looked up to Madara a lot, and he's like, you know, this guy, he's heroic. And then when Madara, like, I mean, because Madara had to go off dealing with things related to Kanata's family, so he kind of left Chiaki in charge of Kanata, and he's like, here, watch over this guy for me. And so they end up friends. And being friends with Kanata actually did a lot of good for Chiaki, because Chiaki finally decided, you know what? Maybe I can just fake it. Maybe if I just act like I'm a hero, one day it'll be real. So that's where you meet him, in his third year. And he is happy-go-lucky, he's jolly, he's really excitable. He's captain of the basketball team. Got his own group that he leads. He's got, like, all of this stuff going. And he's just, like, really, really happy, always excited. Nothing can ever bring this guy down. He's, like, the nicest guy in the game, actually. Like, flat out, I don't think he's ever mean to anyone. Like, he even knows that Ichi and everything that he did with Fine was not good, but he's not ever mean to Ichi about it. There's several characters.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah, no, he's just so nice. I love him. A lot of his arc is kind of coming to terms with, first of all, you know, who he used to be in the year before, like actually trying to live out his dreams and, you know, be a proper hero, be a good role model to his, kohai. And also learning to kind of let go of them a little, because the guys kind of like are... he's almost like a mom or an older sibling or something to them. He just keeps kind of crowding them and is overprotective, and he's like, no, what are they gonna do when we're not here? And so, yeah, he has to kind of learn to let them, you know, be. So, yeah, that's most of it. I'm trying to think of any particular stories of his that were important that don't have implications of the war. And there's a few, but the stories that I think he does well in are mostly, I mean, they're far and few between, but, like, I mean, the ones that he has, I think, a lot of development, it's mostly him and Midori and their kind of relationship that they have going. Because Midori starts out completely hating Chiaki, because it's like, this guy keeps forcing me to do things I don't want to do. And Chiaki's just like, cheer up, kid, you'll do well. So, yeah. I think that's the vast majority of his stories right there. But yeah, he's pretty good. By the time that the new story comes around, yeah, he and Kanata are graduated, but one thing to note about actually both Knights and Ryuseitai, both the units are still a part of school. So there's two different versions of each unit. There's the one officially assigned to their agency. So they like work and they take actual jobs and they earn money together. And then there's the version that exists within the school. So, Chiaki is still the leader of Ryuseitai, but he's only the leader of one version of Ryuseitai. The one that's still back at school, Tetra is now the leader of that one. So that is a bit of a confusing thing, so it's probably better to just mention that early on. Knights managed to avoid that a bit because, Leo decided that he just didn't want to be leader of Knights anymore. Like, it was too stressful, it was too much responsibility for him, he never liked being the leader. So when the whole graduation thing happens and Tsukasa becomes leader, Leo keeps it that way when he and Izumi come back to Japan. They decide that, yeah, we're gonna reform Knights again, and we're gonna, sign with this agency, but Tsukasa is still the leader, not Leo. Because Leo's like, nah, I had it. I didn't like it. So. But yeah, both of these units do have, like, different members as a part of the school. That's important. Because it does come up in an event story. I think it's one of the, no, I don't think it's actually that soon. It'll come, that event story might come in like 3-4 months or so. So it's not very soon at all. Anyways, then we move on to Shu Itsuki. This man. I've ranted about him in so many different ways. Okay, so the backstory is that, yes, he comes from a rich family, they seem to be French, but he was always kind of bullied in his childhood for liking dolls and sewing and, girly things, supposedly. His friend, as a child, was Kuro. The big redhead one over there, who kind of looks like he wouldn't be friends with the guy who sews, but no, they were friends, because Kuro's mom used to also sew, and she used to make dolls. And Shu learned a lot of his stuff from her, actually. So yeah, they were childhood friends, they got along. Then it seems that Kuro's mother died. These two kind of went their separate ways sometime after that. And then by the time that Kuro meets him again, he's just, like, extremely concerned because he's like, are you sure you're okay, man? You treat your unit members like they're dolls? Is this normal? What happened to you? And Shu is just like, no, I am fine. The guy's got, like, a really, really big pride on him. Again, he really, really takes his work very seriously. He believes in art above all else, basically.
I don't like Shu.
He gets better. I mean, the guy is trying in his own really, really weird way. And then, yeah, I mean, again, most of his storyline is, first of all, this is all around the war timeline. By the time that you get to the main story, he's past that. He's treating people a little less like they're dolls. He still doesn't like people. He still treats Mika specifically like he's a doll, because Mika sort of lets him get away with it and at no point says anything to Shu. Shu is...
Because Mika likes it.
Mika has some interesting tendencies. Yeah, pretty much. In any case, that's a whole other story, Mika and Shu and their, and how they were written. But, yeah, so, Shu is, he's a shut-in at this point. He's been way, way traumatized by, Ichi and everything that went down, and he's just like, no more, I don't want this reality. And then eventually, like, he gets threatened into coming back out eventually. Like, he is one of the 2 new units that are introduced, like Valkyrie and Switch. They're introduced later in the storyline, so they're not in the main story at all. So, Kaito eventually has to threaten him that if you don't come out and start performing and taking Dream Life performances, Mika's gonna be the one that fails out of school. His grades suck. And so Shu is like, well, shoot, I have to do this then. So, yeah, they they start performing again, completely against his will, and then he has to like kind of learn to adjust to the new standards of these types of dream live performances, and he's not happy about it. He has to learn to eventually come around, apologize to Nazuna. He has to make a lot of progress, and he does, in a lot of ways, make a lot of progress. So by the time you get to him in the main story, he's done all of this emotional legwork, and you're seeing the version of him that's like, I'd say at least 50% better. He's at least more mentally stable. He still has his doll, Mademoiselle, who he kinda sometimes talks to. But it's not so detrimental. Like, there was this one story where he got separated from Mademoiselle and the guy had a panic attack until Natsume was eventually like, you know what, here, I am your new doll. Treat me like Mademoiselle. And Shu just lifts the guy up, puts him on his shoulder, and he's like, okay, all is well. And Natsume's like, when did you get strong? But yeah, so that was a whole story, once upon a time. Anyway, so Shu is more calm. By the time that he graduates, yeah, he does kind of apologize to Nazuna. He was still a creep for little bits and pieces along the way, but they kind of make up. They get to neutral ground. I won't ever say that they're friends or that they're on good terms. They're on neutral ground. The one thing that never quite changes is that Ichi never lets go of his grudge again. Shu never lets go of his grudge against Ichi. He's decided that no, Ichi Tenshuin is the devil. But, yeah, so he never quite let go, he never really lets go of that. He does kind of make up with Tsumugi, though. Which is hilarious, because Tsumugi is actually the reason that Valkyrie lost that live, and not Ichi in particular. But, yeah, so he ends up going to France by graduation time. For, like, reasons. I have no idea why he went there. So, he left Mika with an apartment. They made sure Mika passed his grade. That was the whole thing, because Mika did nearly fail. And yeah, so he's trying to adjust and learn to kind of let Mika do his own thing without, like, giving too much input. And he's, like, trying to be a nicer person. Yeah, but when Mika goes ahead and mentions anything kind of strange about Shu being his master, this would be why. This is the backstory on why that exists. I can't believe that they really went and made this game and they didn't bother to explain any of the backstory, but okay, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah, knowing that this is not the first time I told you of the history section, like a backstory, to know all of this stuff that happened.
Yeah, they really should have just included a summary. Like, all I would have needed is a summary for each character or something like that. I guess there wasn't quite enough time to add something like that into the game, and that would be a lot of coding, and admittedly, they have had some coding problems already. It do be like that.
They can add it later.
Yeah, I don't know, man. At this rate, I'm thinking I might just have to sit down, script a proper YouTube video, and, like, record all of this for future reference. Because this has been fun, but it has been extremely messy and very chaotic. But anyway, so we're on to Madara Mikajime. I don't know what else is left to say about him at this point. I've explained most of it, because a lot of his story is just tied to other characters. Oh, no, there is one extremely important point left. So, again, your player character, their default name is Anzu. So, Madara is Anzu's childhood friend. Except that it's a lie. And this makes me deliriously happy because it's just so stupidly convoluted. So when he shows up in the game, he starts telling Anzu that, hey, yeah, we're childhood friends! And he keeps going on like that, and Anzu is just like, what? I don't remember you. Who are you? What is this? And then he brings up stuff about, I don't know, her younger brother or her family and stuff, and she's like, oh, well, shoot. So I don't even remember my childhood friend? And Anzu feels kind of bad about it. She feels kind of guilty that, she should remember this guy. Sure, he's an annoying pain in the ass, and he calls himself Mama. He's taken it upon himself that he is Mama to everyone. And again, the whole thing is an act. Everything about him, everything he does, is kind of an act and a lie. he's hardly ever really honest. He hardly shows his true self to anyone, and that's the thing. That in the start of the news story, all of his lies, all of his acting is it starts to catch up to him, and he's left kind of lost in what to do. But anyways, so so he claims that they're childhood friends. And so she comes around to that and she's like, okay, I'm sorry, I forgot you, I didn't really mean to. Except there's an event story where Koro is the one who puts it together that no, you guys are not childhood friends. You lied to her. And Madara's like, it's not a total lie. We met 3 times at the park when we were tiny. So we knew each other.
That counts as friends.
Yeah, hardly. And then Koro's like, so you lied to the girl. And the whole thing is here that Madara, when he comes back with a vengeance. He hates Ichi. Actually, one of his first event stories when he shows up again, he literally threatens Ichi that you mess with Leo anymore and I will come after you. And Ichi's just like, okay, that's a lot. So he's actually come back, found out that Trickstar was the great rebellion that defeated Ichi, and that supposedly they have this producer, the only producer in the school, on their side. And he's like, well, I can use these guys. I can get close to them and turn them against Ichi. Now, he never actually enacts really any of these great revenge plots that he seems to allude to. It's mostly just a lot of anger that doesn't really have any place else to go. And yeah, I mean, he talks a lot about how he's angry at what Ichi did to Leo. He doesn't talk very much about everything that went down with Kanata, because he thinks that the Kanata stuff was equally his fault as much as it was Ichi's fault. And because of that, Kanata absolutely hates him, because he thinks that, you know what, you were my best friend, and then you absolutely abandoned me. How could you do that? So, dude has a lot of guilt. Got some sort of, I don't know, messiah complex, maybe. It's weird. But, yes. So he wanted to get close to Anzu, to get close to Trickstar, to use against Ichi. So that's why he lied and exaggerated the whole childhood friend story. Now that Kuro finds this out, he tells Madara that, listen, you can't ever tell this to Anzu. You know, you've convinced her that you guys were childhood friends. She believes it. She feels bad enough that she forgot her childhood friend, because Anzu's like, she's just a good girl. You know, she tries really hard for people. At the start of the game, she's a complete doormat. She hardly speaks up for herself because she's like had some traumatic stuff happen herself. And and you know, she's just finally opening up and she's getting better with people. And so Kuro tells him that, yeah, listen, you never ever tell her that this is a lie, because if she finds this out, this will crush her. And so Madara has held true to this up until the new story, but I mean, obviously, it's gotta come out at some point. You don't just drop a storyline like that. Especially since it's one of the few storylines that has anything to do with the player character. The only other storyline with Anzu really is her habit of overworking herself. Like, she has very little self-value unless she thinks that she is contributing to people. So she makes costumes, she makes schedules, she organizes events, she does everything. She does it on very little sleep most of the time. So yeah, she's a perfectionist.
Like you, or not like. Very similar.
No, I'm sorry. You cut out just a little there. What were you saying?
The Dansu is like you from Love Live. He's the protagonist of the last game.
Oh, interesting. I feel like this is a common thing. It's like you always have to have the one that overworks themselves until they end up in the hospital. I mean, it works. It's a good storyline. Anzu hasn't even stopped doing that come, like, the new game. But, yeah, so that has to eventually come out and it has to eventually blow up in his face, but it hasn't yet, so I have to explain this, because it's got to be a part of the new game at some point. We're just waiting for the when. Anyways, then we move on to Kuro. His backstory is pretty basic. The guy started out as, you know, a fairly meek little child, mostly. Then he, he learned how to sew from his mother. He has a younger sister. He lost his mother. She died. He became a delinquent in, like, his middle school years or so. That's what's with the weird hair dye and the earrings and whatnot. So yeah, he became a delinquent for a short while, decided that, it wasn't really for him. But he got stuck with the reputation, so... And the hair looks cool. So he just keeps it up.
He don't become a delinquent. He become hot. Hot.
Okay, that's true. But yeah, that's kind of it. Not really a lot there in terms of depth, I'm gonna be real. I mean, I think they have a couple of stories that covered kind of how his mom's passing affected him. There's a couple of offhand comments about his younger sister going through her rebellious phase. He's a very clingy older brother, and he tries to baby his sister because in the immediate aftermath of everything that happened to their mother, I guess he wasn't there enough for her. So he feels bad about it. And so he makes up for that by just trying to cling to her now. And she's just like, no, I don't need my older brother. And it's like, okay, fine. But yeah, then you have Wataru. Now, definitely one of the more interesting characters because I don't think that there's anyone that has a proper read on this guy. I think everything that he does, much like Madara, is done through a mask. He will be whomever you need to be. So it's, I'm pretty sure, confirmed, or at least, there's very little actually about him that's confirmed. There's some stuff that he tells Hokuto at one point about his supposed backstory, but you don't know if any of it is true or not. Because he then goes on to imply that none of it is true. So, yeah, you have no idea. But the supposed backstory is that he was adopted by an elderly couple, and because he was adopted and not really their real child, it left him kind of feeling like a misfit, and supposedly he took up entertainment because it was something that made people happy, and he thought that this would please his parents. Again, we don't know if this is true. We have no idea. We do know that he does do a lot of stuff in entertainment. Again, he does magic tricks, he's in acting, leader of the drama club. He's a part of Fine now. And he joined Fine supposedly because he could kind of see through all of Ichi's, big words and claims that yada yada, as we are doing this for the betterment of humanity and, betterment of the school. And he's like, no, you just really like idols. That this is coming from a place of good. Anything else that I should... I feel like... I know there's one particular story that's considered a really good Wataru story to read if you want to know more about him. But I never got around to reading it. So, yeah, there's the drama there. I have no idea how else to describe him.
Drama.
But yeah, no idea how else to describe him. I guess the only thing you need to know is that he really looks up to Hokuto's mother, because she's not a movie actress, she's an actress in theater. So he tries to so he tries to join her theater group, and she tells him, you are a pathetic, spineless fool. You cannot act. She's apparently just got really high standards. It doesn't actually mean that he can't act. In any case, the guy thinks that she is the greatest, and he's like, she told me I was terrible. I love when people just react like that. It's always so funny. But yeah, so he's still trying to pursue acting and do the whole idol thing both at once. It was a bit of a thing that he did contemplate dropping being an idol to pursue acting full time. But he didn't make it into the troupe, and he's like, okay, I guess I'll do the idol thing.
Well,
so,
I try.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely going to try for that troupe again at some point. I feel like it's going to be brought up at some point. We're just waiting for this. Always just waiting. Okay, yeah. Anyways. So then we get to Kanata Shinkai. Where to start? I don't know what to say that I haven't already said about him. Again, had a weird upbringing where he was told he was a god, and then he found out that he wasn't really a god, and ever since then he's been... I wouldn't say normal exactly, because the guy has a habit of trying to swim in the school fountains. He's a little odd. He keeps trying to bring in really large fish into the aquarium club. Again, he's a little odd. He's quirky.
He wants to be a fish.
He wants to be a fish. At this rate, he might want to be a merman. He can't actually swim, though. That's a joke. Because he only ever swims in the fountains because he can't actually swim in a real pool. He doesn't know how to swim. No one ever taught him how to swim. A lot of his character development comes in kind of bits and pieces. First in discovering his whole past, and then later in essentially in that same story, kind of having him come to terms with said past. And a lot of the times he's just there and he's just chilling, he's vibing. He's a nice guy. He's fun. He cares a lot for, like, their, kohais? But not quite, it doesn't come quite as easy to him. Because, you know, Chiaki's loud and everything, and, like, he thinks that this is the way that people are supposed to care for others, that you're supposed to be loud and kind of clingy and yadas, and it's not really something that he can do, and it's just not in him. And then he ends up, like, bonding with Midori at one point, and it's just like, oh, yeah. He really does care a lot for his kohais. It's just, he's got a bit of a different way of showing it, a very subtle way. He doesn't really change a lot over the story, at least not from the story that I read, but that's because I think I read a lot of his later stories and not a lot of the earlier ones with him. That's kind of skewed. I guess I was reading the stuff where all of the character development had already happened, but anyways. So not much left to say there. Hilarious. These guys are like the trauma group, and at the same time I have less to say about them because like, I mean, they work through a lot of it. Yeah, Rei Sakuma. Now this guy's a fun one. So he's actually meant to be graduated. He was held behind a year, specifically in his last year of high school, so the year of the war. He was in his third year, but he missed so much school in between going around trying to save other people that he just got held behind. I don't know what else to say about him. Yeah, so I mean, he used to be apparently very different before the war, and then afterwards he kind of just like went into this kind of weird grandpa mode. Like, he literally acts like everyone around him is younger than him, and they are, but not by that much. He took in the twink twin, the two-wink twins. Sorry, I call them twink in my head. I mean, that's how they're unit name goes. Anyways, so yeah, he took in the twins at some point, and they're kind of like his protege or something. It's mostly for jokes. They're just there, and they're like, oh no, he's asleep again. The weird vampire stuff is extremely weird, because at first you're like, this can't be real, right? He's just faking it. And then other times it's like, no, there's something really not quite right. And then he says some like really strange stuff about their family. Like, anything he's ever said about his family is so out there. I don't know how else to explain that. I think his most important storyline is, I think it's a graduation event type thing yet again. It's mostly relating to Ritsu. There's a lot of kind of unfinished business with him and his brother and them trying to kind of get along and bond again. So that's got to hopefully come up somewhere in the new game, but I still... No, it has. It has, maybe? In one event. Probably. I love that I have to add probably onto this, because I may be remembering this wrong. Anyways, yeah, I don't think there's much to say. Yeah, he's one of the 5 oddballs. And he is indeed odd, but not that odd. He's one of the more normal ones, technically. Or at least the more sensible ones, maybe. Not normal, not normal. Yeah, then you have Nazun. Why did I do that? I mixed his last name and his first name. Nazuna Nito. Yeah, he exists. Basically, yeah, the entirety of the main storyline is him really coming into himself as a person. By the end of it, the guy is going to university, so Rabbids is now being led by Tomoya. Tomoya is the, unit, or unit leader for rabbits because Nazuna is studying at university. And I think that's a cute little tidbit because he's the only one that we know specifically is studying at university. I don't know, it just makes me happy. He's just going out here and just doing things. It said he sings really well. I find that extremely questionable. But that's just a personal opinion at that point.
No.
Yeah, a lot of his stories are just him trying to be like good senpai to his kohais. Like, that's the vast majority of them, especially if it doesn't involve Valkyrie in some way, then it's just him trying to be a good senpai. He's actually the leader of the audio-visual club, so he's also into, like, all of the sound and tech kind of stuff. And I think the little fun fact about that is that he joined the audio-visual club just to make sure that what happened to Valkyrie would never happen again. No one else would rig someone else's performance to fail by messing with their audio and lighting. Oh yeah, no, that was the thing. The Valkyrie performance that was wrecked, it wasn't just that their lights and music went out. They lip-sang. So their lip-singing tracks died. And so it completely revealed them for their lip-singing. Mika did go on in that performance to try and sing the song live, and so did Nazuna. But again, Nazuna's voice had changed so much from when they'd recorded that track that it was practically a different song, and Shu just broke down. Yeah, so that was the thing that I kept forgetting to mention. The reason that it wrecked them was because they were caught lip-singing, essentially. Which is funny because, like, I think a lot of idols in live performances do pretty much lip-sing because you can't sing and dance and do the whole thing without running out of breath.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, that was an interesting storyline to have there. And it's almost common knowledge that they lip-sing. That they have to. Anyways, let's move on then to Leo Tsukinaga. So, he thinks he was captured by aliens. Yeah, that's a good place to start. In the time that he was missing, whenever people have to ask, he's like, I met an alien. And they're just like, what?
What?
And specifically, I met an alien on the beach. Like, he's very specific about this. The joke is that this is a throwaway gag that's actually a reference to an Ensemble Girls character who kept claiming she was an alien and she had a very specific catchphrase, and Leo later picks up her catchphrase after coming back because this was the alien he met on the beach. His younger sister is also one of the Ensemble Girls characters, and he loves his younger sister to death. Except his younger sister is a bit delusional, and therefore so is he. She's convinced that her brother's a real knight, and so he keeps on acting like, yeah, my group, we're real knights. You know, we protect and serve. And the rest of the characters are like, you're kidding. Some of his most important stories were first the story where he came back, because that story, he came back, he rejoins Knights, and Tsukasa, it kind of just has a fit that, no, you're not fit to lead us, you're a moron, a fool. And then Leo's like, okay, then how about this? We have a match-off kind of thing. Like, basically Leo himself doesn't like what's become of Knights either, and Tsukasa thinks that Leo is not going to help them get any better, so they don't need Leo, and Leo's like, okay, you know, we'll have a competition. I'll put together a team of, like, a temporary team of idols, and we'll face off against Knights, and if you guys win, you have it your way. If I win, we do it my way. And Leo actually does end up winning, or is it kind of a tie? I think it may have been a tie. This is actually covered in the anime, but it's done kind of badly in the anime. This is like the whole point of this event was actually for Leo to force the rest of the Knights members to work together for the first time since he left, because they'd been on completely different wavelengths. So yeah, that was an important one, and then there's a few other ones. The graduation one that I've talked about relentlessly at this point was a really, really big deal, and in it he decides he's moving to Italy with Izumi. So yeah, he's just gonna move to Italy with Izumi, and it's like, yeah, they're gonna be buddies in Italy. They like, I think they own an apartment together. Yes.
Wait.
Make of it what you will.
What?
Look, this is not that subtle. It's really not. It's actually not subtle at all.
Suspicious.
Yeah, they're interesting. I will say that.
Look,
And actually, a lot of Leo fans are kind of split. Some of them ship him with Izumi, the others ship him with Tsukasa. Because he just gets on Tsukasa's nerves, and it's the funniest thing ever.
One time, my mom told me that people who are not family and live under the same roof are probably a couple, so I will say that Leon and Children are just a couple not confirmed.
Allegedly. I guess for illegal reasons we can't actually say anything. Well, I mean, actually, this is just a video game. I can headcanon whatever I want, right? In any case.
Cool.
So. Y'all can take your guesses. You know mine. But, yeah, Leo... He's in a much more stable place by the time the news story comes around. Like, again, that's the thing with the third years. A lot of their emotional work is kind of done, or at least mostly done. You're just missing the backstory. So, yeah, by the time he gets to the new story, he's doing a lot better. I will actually say... Oh, gotta head out now and swim. See you later. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a good swim. Okay, yeah. What's the word? Oh, no, I was, never mind. Back to Leo's sister. That was what I was gonna get on about. So, it's, there's a thing in Ensemble Girls, that confused people relentlessly until the new game officially came out and confirmed this, but in Ensemble Girls, his sister, Ruka, she does at one point mention that her brother drives her to school every day. Except Leo's in Italy. So everyone's like, how does this work? Did they just retcon something from a dead game? And it's like, yeah, you know, they can do that. They can retcon something from a completely dead game. But they didn't. They didn't, in fact, retcon it. He comes back from Italy to drive his sister to school.
Oh.
Like, yeah, he just moves back from Italy and he's like, yeah, my sister needs someone to drive her to school. I don't even think they ever, like, confirm this in the most explicit way. Like, they just kind of imply it. Anyways, yeah, so he's doing a lot better, mostly. He's writing his songs, he's being happy, he no longer has the responsibility of trying to lead their whole group. And Tsukasa is, he seems to be dealing with that responsibility much better, so all is well for him. He and Izumi are still close. I think he and Makoto have kind of dropped their weird rivalry. Because, yeah, Leo practically just went out for Makoto's life and told him that, yeah, you are worthless and I mean everything to Izumi, not you. Like, that is still so much. Anyways, yes, then we get to the last of the third year characters officially, before we move into the last few idol characters at all. Yes, Tsumugi Aba. There's a lot to say about Tsumugi, actually, because he's maybe one of the only people that didn't really do all of the emotional work that he probably kind of should have, essentially. Like, he never quite moved on from the part that he played in the war, and he never quite moved on from the kind of friendship that wasn't with Ichi. Because, like, in the years since then, Ichi tried to make up and was like, you know, we could still be friends, and Tsumugi's like, no, that ship has sailed, I think we tried that. So they're still on very, very rough terms. But, so Tsumugi, back when he was a part of Fine, was actually the leader of Fine, supposedly. I mean, he wasn't actually, like, the group leader. I guess he was more like the center. He was Fine's poster boy. He was the guy that everyone looked to, and Ichi set it up this way so that, you know, should things backfire and Fine, you know, gets backlash, it wouldn't hit Ichi. Ichi's in the background. It's going to all be on Tsumugi, and it made sense, because Tsumugi is the one who knows everyone in school, he's the one who's friendly, yada yadas. So it made sense for him to be... Yeah, I mean, I guess. Not nearly as talented, but very, very close. But yeah, so he was the face of Fine. He was the one that did everything and kind of set up things, and he's the one who had the connections and got the popularity. Not the only one by any means, and I wouldn't even say that he was the best singer amongst them, but he was the most well-rounded, perhaps. Hello, thank you for the follow, Vanny Projects. Lovely to have you here. I hope you were enjoying this. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, he's a wild ride. After everything happened, the guy changed completely. Put on a pair of glasses, decided to grow his hair out. It's some sort of a, I think it's like some sort of religious type thing. Apparently he's growing his hair out because he's made a wish and he's not going to cut his hair until said wish comes through. But you don't, I don't know if you find out ever what said wish is. I think you do. Like, it's implied only. And I think it's essentially that he's not gonna cut his hair until he's kind of made up for everything that he's done as a part of Fine. Because he knows that he was, you know, pretty snaky. I mean, yeah, to expose Valkyrie for lip-singing was our one thing. Helped take down Knights, oh, that was another. You know, took down Wataru, Rei, all of these people that he's friends with, Natsume. He did a lot of stuff there. And he was, like, again, he was the face of the group. Tori has actually stated, because Tori, when he first meets Tsumugi, doesn't recognize that this is the Tsumugi from Fine. The second he does realize it, he's like, oh my god, you are my idol. I love you. Like, he's just a really, really big fanboy. He loves Fine, and Ichi's not necessarily his favorite from Fine, or at least he wasn't always his favorite from Fine, but when he does join Fine, he's like, Ichi is the best. Tori's adorable like that. Anyways, so Tsumugi and Ichi never quite got back on even terms by the time the story ends, and I'm waiting, praying maybe that at some point they talk things out a bit more properly, but I don't know how likely that is. Other than that, yeah, he and Natsume get along a bit better now, but they're still trying to figure things out. Tsumugi, in the news story, takes on, like, some sort of leadership role in one of the production companies. So, like, okay, to specify this, Ichi is the CEO of Ensemble Square, but he's also an idol signed under one of their production companies called Star Maker Productions. Tsumugi, on the other hand, like, I think Ichi also has, like, some sort of leadership role in Star Maker Productions as well. I don't know if he's exactly CEO, but, like, he makes decisions. Tsumugi is vice president of Rhythm Link, which is mostly just him dumping a whole lot of work on himself, and there's more stuff that'll come out about how that whole thing breaks down. But it's an interesting dynamic. The guy has, like, gone through a lot of weird things. Like, I mean, you know, he was the poster boy for Fine once upon a time. When that failed, he instead took a complete backseat in Switch. He doesn't really make any of the decisions. All the decisions are left to Natsume. And then, you know, by the news story, he kind of comes around, and he's somewhere in between. He's not making all the decisions, but he's got an important enough role in the production company. Forget his unit. So, yeah, that's some interesting stuff. And his business sense is kind of a thing that is brought up occasionally in the stories, that the guy is pretty savvy about this stuff. He's good at making connections. He's good at kind of thinking these things through. Yeah, he used it once upon a time for shadier means, but he is good at this stuff. Anyway.
Mina's gone.
Hello? Okay.
You're back.
Yeah, I could hear you, and then it was like, oh yes, we're back. I am so sorry for the Wi-Fi.
No worry.
Okay. So yeah, Hiyori, he's almost equally rich compared to Ichi, but without any of the responsibilities. He is the youngest child in his family, so his older brother is going to take over the family business, and he can just do with the money what he wants. But yeah, he comes from old money, whereas Ichi and Tori's families are a bit more new money. So there's a bit of a running gag about how his family is more rich or kind of more affluent. It's mostly jokes. He and Ichi like to just poke fun at each other over stupid things, where Hiyori will just say that, oh wow, you're still alive, and Ichi's like, well, would you like me to drop dead here for you? They're funny like that. And hello, welcome to the chat, Vanny Projects. Lovely to have you here. I hope you're enjoying. I sure am. Anyways, yeah, so that's Hiyori's little shtick. There isn't a whole lot of character development that he goes through, because in the original game, he's mostly a side character. There's just some backstory that's vaguely important to him and Nagisa. So, he and Nagisa, they were kind of friends before they entered Yuma. Well, they entered Yuma no Saki. They did enter Yuma no Saki, because they used to be a part of Fine. Right. So, how it worked was that Nagisa, as a child, was adopted. He was adopted by a guy called the Godfather, who was a really big guy in the idol world. And a lot of this will be rehashed in the new game. Probably? Or, anyways, yeah, so Nagisa's, adoptive godfather, whatever, he eventually dies. He dies not long after Subaru's dad dies. And then Nagisa is taken in because no one knew that this guy had adopted a son. They found him when they found the guy dead in his own house, and they're like, oh my god, there's a child here locked up in a room, dressed like a doll. He wasn't really dressed like a doll. I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but yeah, he was kind of very sheltered by this man, because the man wanted to train Nagisa to become the perfect idol. And in doing so, Nagisa met Subaru's dad a lot. Because, like, Subaru's dad was the one who helped train Nagisa, supposedly. So yeah, Nagisa's always wanted to become an idol because he's like, you know, I don't understand what it was that my godfather saw in these people. That why idols? What is so amazing about idols that other humans don't seem to have? Again, he was very, very sheltered, did not have any socialization, but yeah, when they found his godfather guy dead, he was taken in by Hiyori's family for a short while. Then he was adopted into another family, and they kind of lost touch with each other until they met at Yuma no Saki years later. And then they were like, oh hey, bestie, you're here! So are you! Yay! And they both ended up in Fine. And then when everything went down with Fine and, you know, they hit their final performance, which contractually they were supposed to disband the unit if they once they hit that final performance. So once they hit that, the two of them just got together and they're like, okay, let's try this again somewhere else. Let's just run away. We've done way too much damage here already. Let's get away from it. So they basically run away. They try to outrun their past, literally, and they end up joining different schools, different idol schools, because these are the only other two accredited idol schools, Reime Academy and Shuetsu Academy, and they join them under Cosmic Productions, which is a proper, production company at the time. So yeah, they do that. And then they become the two subunits. They pick up their two kind of partners. Well, June was picked up by Hiyori because, I don't know. I actually don't know what happened. Hiyori keeps claiming that, you know, it was an act of kindness. I saw you there looking so pathetic and I thought I should help you. Hiyori's a bit stuck up like that. But it's all well-intentioned. And June is just like, yeah, princess, shut up. But, yeah. June's backstory is a little more complicated. So he comes from, again, a family of idols, basically. His dad was an idol, but his dad was a failed idol. His dad was set up for failure in order to make another idol look good, and so his dad instead trained June to become the perfect idol. But June never really lived up to the standards. He wasn't that talented at singing or dancing. He tries as much as he can, but it really doesn't go anywhere. Now note, the entirety of Eden, because all four of these guys, they make up a unit called Eden, they're kind of mirror images of Trickstar, or what Trickstar could have been had things gone kind of wrong. June is, in a lot of ways, meant to be very similar to Makoto. Meanwhile, Hiyori is kind of this reflection of Subaru, if Subaru was, I guess, more callous. Or maybe if Subaru was rich. I don't know which one it is. But yeah, he is sort of meant to be a reflection of Subaru. This makes much more sense when you watch the anime. Actually, there's a thing that the anime does for the second half of the anime. That's the last 12 episodes or so. They switch theme songs. And this theme song, for the first 6 episodes or something, is sung by Trickstar, and then for the next 5 episodes, it's sung by Eden. And you notice who takes whose part, and it's all because they kind of are, they parallel each other that way. And then for the last episode, they have Eden and Trickstar sing that theme song together. I love the parallels. Anyways, so yeah, Jun's backstory is that he doesn't... It's not that he doesn't want to be an idol. He very much does want to be an idol. He wants to prove the world wrong and be like, yeah, I can do this. He's also just got a bit of a chip on his shoulder about the fact that he found out very early on that the industry is a bit corrupt. Again, they forced his dad into failure just to promote another idol that they liked better. And said other idol ended up quitting anyways. That idol is one of the teachers at Yumenosaki now. Because why not? But yeah, so that's Jun's whole backstory, and Hiyori's backstory, and most of Nagisa's backstory as well. Now Nagisa, when he goes to Shuetsu Academy, the guy's kind of lost. Like again, he doesn't have any social skills. He doesn't know what to do, how to market himself, God forbid. So instead he runs into Ibra. Now Ibra's thing is that he's also linked to Godfather. He's Godfather's unknown grandson. Basically, Godfather apparently had a child at some point, but said child never seemed to live with him or something like that. It was an illegitimate child. So that child went on to get married, and then Ibra was born. So yeah, that Godfather is actually his grandfather. He only finds this out after Godfather dies, because he's like in military camp with Yuzuru before that. So Godfather dies, and the will says to basically hunt down the family members and kind of split all of his properties and assets amongst them. So Ibra, at I don't know, 13 years old or something, is just given a bunch of companies and money and things like that. And so the guy decides he's gonna become the world's first 13-year-old businessman.
What a strange...
Yeah, it's funny, it's funny. I mean, the guy, I guess he learned very early on that, you know what, there's not a lot that you can do without money. And with money, you can get away with a lot. So that was the thing. He decided, yup, we are going to earn money. And in particular, he now came into, he owns a share of Cosmic Productions, an idol production industry. So he went in and became an idol, but he's also kind of a business student on the side of that. He's juggling a lot of things. And by the time that the main story ends, he basically is the guy running Cosmic Productions in almost its entirety. I mean, he's still a minor, so he can't actually run the whole company. But he makes a lot of the most important decisions. There's still a few people above him. He doesn't really like the people above him. His whole thing is also, he does a lot of acting as well. I don't mean he is an actor. I mean, he lies to everyone around him. He tries to put on this act like he's happy-go-lucky, everything is well, all is going great, I'm not shady. Except he seems extremely shady. It's really funny.
It's like, Disney villains. I'm not shady.
Yeah. Just like that, oh my god. But yeah, I mean, generally the guy is, he's not he has morals, basically. You know, he doesn't want to resort to shady things like exposing Subaru's dad for being Subaru's dad to try and win a competition. He doesn't really vibe with that kind of stuff. He's just, doing his best to make money. Because nothing can go wrong in life when you got money. But yeah, he ends up, I guess the important thing is that he ends up kind of dipping in on a business deal with Ichi to buy up the land that Ensemble Square now runs out of, and then he also is the one who helps Ichi sign Cosmic Productions under Ensemble Square. But he and Ichi are sort of rivals, in the business sense. This guy does not want to be beat out by Ichi, and Ichi is like, I am not going to be beat out by a kid younger than me. So yeah, they've got an interesting relationship going on. He's also got a rather interesting relationship with Anzu, because he's both Mao and Anzu. He's got this whole thing where he has to keep up this kind of vague, this persona, but instead of Mao's persona of being, Mr. Perfect, this guy is just really nice and friendly and totally not shady. His persona doesn't really work very well. But he's also, their group's producer. He's the one who makes all of the decisions about costuming and songs and lighting, and he writes whole-out scripts for Nagisa. Because Nagisa is just I don't know what to say, I don't know how to market myself, why do I have to be someone other than me? And Ibra is just it's okay. Don't worry about this, Your Majesty, I will write you a script. And Nagisa's like, okay. Because yeah, that makes it easy. Ibra seems to have well intentions, why not? Hiyori doesn't particularly like Ibra because he's just like shady snake. And Ibra is still trying to kiss up to Hiyori that, you know, don't worry. You're great too. It's just funny stuff. Anyways, that is, I think everything. Yeah, I guess the only important thing is that Eden plays a much larger role in this new story. You know, they get like lots more focus events and things like that. They have songs. They have good songs, actually. I really like their songs. Yeah, that's it.
I play some a little of the stages, the songs, and it was really good. I normally don't like Japanese male idol songs, but it was really good.
Oh yay! I'm glad you liked it. The music is like half of what got me into this. Getting into this game was a weird mess back when I did it. It was the year that, you know, Idolish 7 had come out, the anime, and like idols were really popular, and then I heard that this one was gonna get an anime, and I was like, no. I have got to get into the series before the anime comes, so that I can brag that I was here before the anime. And then I spent 2 hours having a freak out trying to pick my favorite character, because there were so many characters, and I'm like, no, this one, what about this one? And then I just listened to all the songs, and I'm like, okay, which is the rock group? And I picked Undead. And then they didn't do that much rock. It was disappointing. In any case. The series is lots of fun, and I think I think we've covered pretty much all the backstory necessary to go into most of the stuff in the new game. Almost anything else should be addressed. Everything to do with Alkaloid and Crazy Bee, they're completely new characters. They only show up in Ensemble Stars music. So, I mean, they show up in Basic as well, but that's a whole other thing. Point is, this is the only place you're seeing them. They don't have any story before this. Technically, it's implied that Hiro once saw one idol performance, and that one idol performance he saw was Trickstar at the SS. That's really all that they have in terms of backstory that isn't covered in the game. Like, I mean, it's implied, so you wouldn't get the implication unless you know all the stuff about the SS and you know what costumes Trickstar wore, which most people probably don't. But yeah, so that's it. That is everything you will ever possibly need to know, probably, unless you want to read the story. In which case, first of all, thank you everyone for being here. If you do want to know more about the story, feel free to join my Discord server. And just tag me, list any stories you want or any character, and I will try to get you all the information that I can. I don't actually live and breathe this series. There are other people who do this far better than I do, but I do love it, and I'm willing to put in lots of work. And are any questions from you, my dear pal, who has stuck through 4 hours of this? You're a trooper.
No, I'm fine. I can't wait to start the story now that I have a little of the backstory, at least.
Yay! I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like, half of this backstory won't even matter, because the way that they write these stories is they toss you right into the thick of it. So, like, the prologue starts at the end of the main story, because you start with Alkaloid already being a formed group, and that they're at this big performance. And then you go into Ichi saying, you know what, I never thought that they would make it this far, I'm so proud of them, and yada yadas. And then you go back, and then they tell you how Alkaloid formed in the first place, and you spend the next, like 4 months or something. Like, I mean, in story. Hello?
Hey, you're back.
Oh, okay, I can hear you. Yay. I have no idea where I was in the middle of when it actually cut off.
I also lost
Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
It's okay. You know what?
I start to close things and end the stream, so I don't remember.
Oh, okay, okay. Oops, oops. All is well, all is well. Yeah, I guess we're just technically wrapping up the stream. Yes, do you have a Discord that you would like to plug?
No, I'm just starting, so I don't have anything like that.
Oh, okay, fair enough, fair enough.
It was very long stream for almost. It was 4 hours and what, 30 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, 4 hours and 30 minutes or so. Anyways, actually, I hope you don't mind that I'm just going to mute you and say goodbye to chat.
Okay.
But thank you for being here so far. For so long. And I hope you have fun.
Yes, of course, and thanks for introducing me to this new game, saga, franchise.
Thank you for being interested enough and willing to do this.
So I'm going to head out. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, yes, so that is the stream for today. Let's actually switch here and... yeah. Okie dokie. So, thank you to everyone for being here. It really does mean a lot. I hope you guys had lots of fun. This game makes me very happy, as you can tell.